Oh, thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Hi,
Dirk, your audio is a little bit crackly, but we'll see what happens.
How's it going, Dirk?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. All right. So, yeah, we think God is a fiction. Let me just clarify. Are you part of the Abrahamics? Christianity?
No. I'm New Age, and so I take like a real consciousness is abstract approach, and that it can inhabit, like we inhabit a state of consciousness. So this would be like me and you and all of us, but it's not limited to what we consider to be classic living beings, right? So this would extend to like higher beings that in the cosmos. One of those I pointed out.
Hey, Dirk. Dirk, my friend. Is there any chance you could like refresh your browser and try again? Your audio is crackling so hard it's difficult to listen to.
You know what? I don't have another way to do it, but thanks so much for having me on. I'll call you back when I get my audio fixed. Thanks, Justin. I'm sorry, Volsty, we couldn't have this conversation.
No problem. Come by anytime.
All right, Dirk, take care of yourself, okay?
Bye.
So Dirk is a new ager, you said, right?
Dirk is, and I very tempting. Well, Massly just left. It's very tempting to want to pop up and ask questions, but it kind of derails the live stream when that happens. So we kind of have some boundaries. And for one reason or another, our guest on TikTok popped out. I guess they didn't want to defend the God claim. So we're in an interesting spot right now where we're waiting for some guests to load up. And so next person to request is actually first in line. Now, we'll see. My understanding is you've got some background in non-Christian religion.
Yeah. I do. Like my grandmother was a voodoo practitioner. So my significant other, she's also has background in like Jamaican opium. You know what I mean? So these are like African traditional religions. So what I like to do is, because a lot of people, we live in a predominantly Christian West, of course. A lot of folks have never heard of these religions, never heard of these traditions, right? So I've always said that, hey, you know, all of your arguments for a God, let's say, just for the sake of argument, I were to accept them all, I can say that Olodumare, the God of, your Orisha religion, is the real one. You know what I mean? Even if I accept every single one of your premises, I could make an argument for that one. Like, you have to make an argument or provide evidence specifically for the Christian one. And of course, they'll say stuff like, well, those guards are just wrong. I'm like, what makes them wrong? So it's I have to find it, but I was actually able to create an entire syllogism for Olodumare, you know what I mean? And I based it on the fact that humanity came from Africa, which means that Africa had to have the first forms of spirituality. And if they had the first forms of spirituality, then that would mean that spirituality, since it was first, has to be the one closest to where the spiritual world is. And if it is closest to where the spiritual world is, then the spiritual world looks like African spirituality, which means that those gods are correct. You know what I mean? So you can create a whole syllogism out of just something completely ridiculous like that, you know? So it's just one of those things where I always, you know, I kind of use that background to show them different perspectives, especially when they get into the whole, oh, it's demonic thing. You know, after that, that's when I put my political hat on and say, hey, you know, you were told that because of European colonialism. They're the ones who said that all these religions are evil, you know, and they say that simply because it didn't follow their tradition. That's the only reason.
Right.
You know, they took on the whole white man's burden thing and said everything else is primitive or evil, you know?
It's actually really interesting because, and you've seen it, most of the arguments that people are going to give for God, and usually they have a specific God in mind, would work for almost any God concept. So to me, it's far more interesting for someone to give an argument for their specific religion than for like a generic God. Like, why do I care if there's a generic deistic God out there that, like, I don't know, sneezed the universe into existence and then like left? It means nothing to me, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I've always wondered. I was like, okay, yeah, you give me an argument for your like, you know, your like, you know, the generic God that just kind of, you know, I guess he was bored one day and, you know, he, you know, got a lighter and farted the universe out. You know what I'm saying? Sure. But like, how exactly, what's the point of that? You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't that be equal to no God at all? There's no one interacting with the universe or anything like that. The way that we understand the word God is something that's an agent that interacts with the universe. If you're going to say that it's just, you know, create the universe and then screw it off somewhere, it's no better than aliens, you know, might as well worship Galactus, I guess, you know, and yeah, you might as well worship that. And it's another thing. If they don't argue for that, they would say that everything is God. You know, they kind of lean on Spinoza, where you know the feeling of love and gratefulness, the universe itself is God. I'm like, that's basically equal to no God at all, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
like if the God you're describing is has the identical qualities as no God existing, this seems like the God doesn't exist, which is kind of where we're at. But friends, I've got a couple of super chats. We'll grab those. If you've got questions for myself or Volsi, you're welcome to super chat them in while we're waiting for guests to load up. I can tell you that Volsi has a really interesting set of tools that I don't have. So it would be a great time to ask questions for Volsi. House 70, you are correct, by the way. It says, way to throw Volsi to the Dirk. And unfortunately, Dirk couldn't stick around to give him the full dose of Dirk. But, you know, it is kind of, Dirk's growing on me, despite the fact that he's got a really weird belief system. Unsells, thank you for the super chat, friends. So I wonder, why do some people waste their time using and abusing philosophy to prove God or the origin of the universe? It's a science question, not philosophy. It's the laziest way to engage with such topics, in my opinion. And I don't disagree. I mean, I suspect that, Volsi probably has an opinion about. I just kind of suspect the reason why they turn to philosophy is because they don't have anything else, right?
You don't have anything else. Yeah. And I was talking about this the other day. It's you could basically make an argument for anything. Now, I don't want to be dismissive of philosophy, because philosophy is very, very important. It's the reason why we're even talking about this, right? So sure, like, philosophy is important. But whenever I ask for, do you have some sort of evidence? Because at the end of the day, scientists, physicists, they didn't argue atoms into existence. They had to demonstrate that atoms existed, right? Of course, they had mathematical models. They had any type of argument they had. They said, if you look at these effects and these effects, this is what show atoms exist, until the point where they had to demonstrate atoms existed, right? So when it comes to like these God arguments, though, there's really no demonstration. There's no models. There's nothing we can do. All he can say is, oh, based on this argument and this argument, therefore God. And I'm like, okay, now what's the demonstration? What do we do now to actually show what you're saying is true? Nothing. I'm like, any mathematical model at all? Nothing. I've even said that. I said, hey, listen, if you can show me some sort of peer-reviewed equation that points to, a willful agent creating the universe, then hey, everybody won't be atheist tomorrow. We'll just say whatever that was some sort of agent that we definitely don't understand, like a agent from a higher dimension. But is it necessarily Christian God? Is no. Now we'll just argue on what type of agent is it, and should we worship it or not? That's the only thing that we'll be talking about in this day and age. But no one would doubt it. But so far, no one has come up with even that. You know, so it's just one of those things. You either got it or you don't. And who was that? Was it Daniel Dennett or Christopher Hitchens? He said claims without evidence can be dismissed without evidence.
Yeah, Hitchens. Right. Yeah, that was a good line too. Well, we got to guess requesting up on TikTok, so we'll grab them and we'll see if we can get some discussion started. I'm going to make sure I get looks like Horace is the name. See if Horace can connect. Welcome in, Horace. Are you at least 18? Horace? Does your equipment work, my friend? Horace, did you request by accident?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got you.
Okay.
Sounds like it was still in his pocket. Okay.
Yeah, he was probably walking around with it and didn't realize.
The funny thing is, like, if we say we prove tomorrow through science that there is a God, we would still have no reason to believe it's the Christian God. We have no reason to believe it's the Islamic God. There's no reason to believe it's the Hindu concept. They would still need to demonstrate that a God existing would necessarily be their God. And I think that's where philosophy is actually helpful, because it can't always tell you what is. It's pretty good at telling you what isn't. So, for example, if I describe something that is just inherently contradictory, we'd be like, well, yeah, that thing doesn't exist because, the laws of logic, right?
Right.
So I think the burden would still be to prove that their particular God is out there. And to be fair, most of the people that's engaging in the philosophy conversations trying to prove God's existence, they do typically believe in some formalized religion, even if they don't want to argue for it. So I'm not sure that demonstrating spirits or a God existing would fix the problem. We still need good evidence say that Christianity is true, and I don't know of any good evidence that would demonstrate Christianity true at all.
Right, exactly. Because at the end of the day, even if we were to show that it created or sin, what sin even is, and then you would have to get all the way to the Jesus stuff and all of the issues that happen there. You know what I mean? Because you're way better at this than I am, but et cetera, et cetera. So if Christianity rises and falls on the death and resurrection of Jesus, there's a lot of problems still, even if you were to show that the Christian God exists. If you were to show, matter of fact, it would show that it probably isn't the Christian one. It's probably Yahweh. Even if we were to show tomorrow that it's Yahweh, we're like, okay, y'all, maybe the Jews are right and not the Christians.
True.
And so, yeah, everybody will have to go to synagogue tomorrow. I'm guessing. You know what I mean?
we could demonstrate, if we could demonstrate immediately that Yahweh existed, it still wouldn't mean that Christianity is true. Jesus would still be a liar and a fraud. And I realize there's some Christians out here crying that I just said that. But it's the truth, friends. Christianity is inherently contradictory. The Trinity is illogical nonsense. The God of the Hebrew Bible makes very definitive statements that is contradicted in the New Testament, which means even if that God existed, Jesus couldn't be part of that God, and Jesus didn't get sent from that God unless he got sent to be the false prophet predicted in Deuteronomy 13. So Christianity is just got a lot of problems.
Yeah, you still got a bunch of problems. Even if we were to show that Yahweh was true. You mind if I? Were you gonna read a super chat? You mind if I just?
No, go ahead.
It says something to my audience. All right. So for anybody who's watching me over on the Volsky Thoughts channel, welcome. This is a Tuesday stream. Sorry. I usually go Thursday through Sunday, but we're doing a special day today on Tuesday. Shout out to Justin Deconstruction Zone. And y'all, if you would like to join in on a discussion, the call link is right there, tiny.cc/dzlive. I did just put it in the chat. So for the guy, Virtual Billy, who's talking right now in the comments, I'm not watching the comments. All right, so just join in here. I always tell the people who are on my live on YouTube, I said, hey, y'all, I can't see these comments. I'm focused on something else. So If you want to go ahead and call in and talk to me, there it is. There's the link. Just copy it into your browser, come on up, and then we'll have a discussion.
Yeah, that's a good point. So in the description of the video, the link on the screen, you can just click on it. If you're watching on YouTube, you don't have to even type it or copy and paste it typically. But so it's not difficult. You don't have to sign up for anything to get in. You just literally, all you got to do is click on the link. But I think we've got one guest up here on TikTok, maybe.
Awesome.
So we'll find out.
Hello.
Welcome in, Matthew. Is this Matthew Red?
Yeah, this is me.
Did you change your screen name?
Yeah, I changed my name.
Okay. Well, nevertheless, welcome back. I already know that you're over 18, and I already know that you're a Christian, so I don't have to do all that. But I do need to ask you to turn down your speakerphone a little bit because it's feeding back into your microphone.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it moving like that. I thought it wasn't doing
Should
that.
be-
I'll just go on mute every time I don't talk.
Sure. So you kind of already know the shtick. I think you've been here like 3 times. So what argument did you want to run tonight?
Well, I just want to talk about your prompt that says God is fiction. What do you mean by that?
It just means that the God that you believe in is it's a character that has been like written about in a book, but it's a fictional character, a character that no one can demonstrate to exist in real life.
So are you saying like the book is fictional?
No, I'm saying that the God portrayed in the book is fictional, the same way the God depicted,
so that
say,
would just
like
mean that-
in the Iliad and the Odyssey is fictional.
Well, yeah.
And I would also
Yeah,
say
God is
that,
fictional.
Matthew, I would also say that much of the Bible is what I describe as historical fiction, meaning that it names real places. It may even name real people and sometimes even real events, but the legends around them are fake. Like, for example, it mentions Egypt, right? But does that
Well, I
mean
would
that
think
Moses?
saying a legend would be a category error though, because that's like historically versus a legend isn't the same.
Matthew, I don't care. So, like, what I would say is that it mentions a real place like Egypt, right? Now, was Moses a real guy? Maybe, maybe not. A lot of Jewish historians say he even wasn't. The Exodus, where there are a bunch of Hebrews that left Egypt, sure, that could have happened, right? But the way that it is described in the Bible, no, that didn't happen.
What didn't happen?
The Exodus story, at least the way that it's described in the Bible, with all the curses and crossing the Red Sea, etc., etc.
What are you even talking
I
about?
didn't hear you say that again.
We never brung up Exodus. What are you talking about?
What I was trying to say is that the because Justin said that the God of the Bible is fiction, or the God character in his book is fiction, and I would say, just to extend on that, I would describe the Bible as historical fiction, meaning that it names real people, real places, sometimes real events, but the way that it describes them are mythology, basically.
Okay, what does that have to do with Exodus?
The Exodus
And
story
what was the name of
is
the call? You told
the
me to bring
Exodus
up
story.
Exodus, and what
The
was
Exodus
you
story.
asking me?
The Exodus story is an example of what I'm talking
Oh, you
about.
asked me if
It
that
names a
happened.
real place. No, that's not what I asked you. Listen to what I'm saying, Matthew. Lock in for me. The Exodus story was an example of what I was giving about historical fiction, meaning that Egypt is a real place. Pharaoh Ramses was probably a real person. Moses was probably a legendary figure. Yeah, I mean, not the way described in the Bible. And all the curses and the 10 plagues and crossing of the Red Sea, all those are just mythologized. So there could have been a group of Hebrews in Egypt that went ahead and left Egypt, and even left Egypt with a leader leading them out of Egypt. But the way that they describe Exodus is what's mythologized. Does that make sense now?
Okay, so you're saying that you think that it's fiction based off of Exodus, mostly?
Am I?
I think
Is it my fault?
not your fault. Matthew, all he's saying, he's just giving you one example of what we're talking about. Like the Exodus story is clearly
okay,
some form of historical mythology.
Well, yeah, that's what I was trying to say earlier. Well, I know that you guys don't believe in God, and I know that you're trying to say that the Bible is fiction. But yeah, obviously, if God isn't real, then yeah, it would be fiction because it would just be man-made, right? So you're saying that the Bible is fiction because it's man-made.
I mean, that's part of it, yeah.
It's part of it. Yeah, it's historical fiction.
So what?
Okay.
Why would we believe that the God of the Bible does exist?
Yeah, let me just pull up my notes real quick. I gotta get a verification code. Just give me 1 sec.
Sure.
All right, cool.
Are his notes on his phone?
Probably. If your notes are on your phone and you swiped out, we can't hear you.
I'm on my I'm not home right now. I usually am on my computer, but I'm using something weird. And I gotta sign
Fair
to my note app real quick. Just give me 1 sec. I need to verify my email. Hold on.
Okay.
Because I want to talk about something certain that I was preparing because we haven't talked in like I think a week or two, and
It's been a bit.
last thing we talked about was the resurrection, and I got a lot of new stuff I would like to bring up. We don't have to really talk about it all too much.
Love to talk about
Cool.
resurrection.
So just to let you know, when you swipe out of the TikTok app, we can't hear you. So if you say something, we won't hear it. All right, just let you know.
The fun thing with the resurrection, Volsi, is that, we could just grant that the resurrection happened and Christianity would still be false. But I think Matthew here I think he's got some new talking points to try out. So I'm eager to hear him.
Yeah, because I remember the last time that we talked, you were telling me like something that the Greek Septuagint is 500 years after Jesus, but that's actually not true.
I never said that.
Yeah, you did.
No, what I said is that the documents we have, the actual physical documents, post-date Jesus.
Oh, so you didn't say that the Greek Septuagint itself was 500 years after Jesus? Because you asked me for a manuscript that fixes the verse, and then I told you the manuscript Septuagint is older. And also,
the manuscript,
I failed to mention that
the manuscript that you listed post-dated Jesus by a long shot.
Oh, the manuscript that I mentioned. Oh, you're talking about the certain manuscript that I mentioned. Well, I said the Greek Septuagint. I never brought up like a. Oh, so you're saying that? Oh, so you're saying the verse or the main? Okay, the verse, right? Wasn't added
what I'm saying is
years after Jesus.
We don't have a complete Greek Septuagint that predates Jesus. Like all of our complete copies of the Septuagint post-date Jesus. The Sinaiticus is the earliest of them, and that's the 4th century at best.
All right. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, we'll talk about, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead. What did you want to talk about the resurrection? What do you want to bring up?
Yeah, I do want to talk about the resurrection, but I feel like I don't know. Saying that the Bible is fiction is just like without actually giving me a reason, because like there's a lot of reasons on why it shouldn't be, and I can give you those too. You might have a lot that say that it could be, but I have a lot that say it's not.
Well, let me ask you a question.
There's different too. I don't really need to explain it. We all know that we all have good reasons to think what we think, right?
Maybe not.
Maybe.
Also, if you could do me a favor, though, your speaker is still a little bit loud, and every time we talk, it feeds back into your microphone, and it gets a weird feedback loop. If you could bring it down just a notch, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, my bowels. I'll forget. I keep forgetting to mute myself.
It's okay. Okay, so. If I asked you, hey, is the Iliad and the Odyssey fictional story, what would you say those two stories?
I would say I'm agnostic on that because I don't know.
You don't know if like Zeus is real?
Well, no, he's not real. Obviously, that's a legend. Like I have no reason to believe that.
Right.
But
we're
like
just saying that
I'd have to be agnostic because I'm not too knowledgeable on it, but I would say I'm leaning more towards no, because I mean, I have no reason to believe it to begin with.
Right. Because the Iliad and the Odyssey mentions, Cyclops and trolls and mermaids.
Yeah, that's where the word legend comes in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. But there's no reason to believe that because there's no evidence of Cyclops and trolls.
I just want to talk
about
the second law of thermodynamics because last time you were telling me that the
Again?
universe.
Bro, what? Wait, hold on. Well, whiplash. What? How do we get there?
Talk about the second law of thermodynamics. Justin knows.
Wait, hold on. How do we get there?
An analogy on how that doesn't mean the beginning. but I mean not a static eternal universe, because yeah, and I could explain.
Well, go ahead and give your argument, and I'll tell you why you don't understand
Okay,
thermodynamics.
well, do you want to premise the premise? Because you already know what I'm about to say right now. Like, you already know what this argument is, right?
I mean, there's multiple arguments.
It's the Kalam cosmological argument.
But the Kalam is not the same as the argument from thermodynamics.
Oh well, I mean, it's a part of that, I guess, in a way. It's part of the justification.
Tell you what, Matt, you just figure out which argument you want to run, and go ahead and run it, and we'll do it.
All right, so look. The second law of thermodynamics is entropy, right? So entropy equals energy spreading out, becoming unusable, right?
No.
It's always no with this guy. You always know something new. What is it now? What are we not understanding now? What is it? Tell me.
The word entropy is just describing how we're calculating the amount of energy in something, right? So when say we have a cup of coffee, right? There's particles inside of this cup of coffee, and the hotter it gets, the more those particles move around, and they become what is described as disorderly, right? And the cooler it gets, the more they're gonna like crystallize. So like if I let this sit in my cup forever, it's gonna cool down, and eventually some particles are gonna bond to each other and crystallize, and they're gonna have a lower state of entropy. So the universe, when we talk about entropy, we're really talking about like the amount of energy.
Yeah, but doesn't entropy work different in the cup from the universe?
Well, it can. We don't actually know if the universe is isolated.
I don't think it works like that. How the way you're putting it.
It does.
When it comes to the universe, I don't think so.
So entropy inside of a cup would be an isolated system. We don't know.
Yeah, closed system.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
Oh, okay, so wait. Doesn't the second law of thermodynamics say that in a closed system, usable energy decreases over time?
No. Right. So the second law of thermodynamics is.
Oh, but he says right.
Do you just want me to read you the law?
But he says right. You say no.
So the second law of thermodynamics says that the total amount of entropy, meaning energy inside of an isolated system, will only ever, from particle to particle, increase until it reaches equilibrium. That's what that means. Once it reaches equilibrium, then there's no energy transfer. The universe
is running down toward equilibrium. Usable energy is being lost. That's what.
No, you can't lose energy. Energy doesn't just disappear. Energy transfers, like so.
All you're doing is
like ceramic resistor. Then what you'll find is like there's energy that's dissipated through heat, but that energy doesn't just disappear.
You're not even talking to me. I'm lagging.
I'm talking to you.
All right. So you want to swipe out and come back?
And all you're doing is explaining what equilibrium is. But like I said, in a closed system, usable energy decreases over time. The universe is running down toward equilibrium. Usable energy is being lost.
Actually, in a closed system, you would never run out of energy. It would always just be the same amount of energy you started with.
No, nobody said you're running out of energy. Usable energy is being lost. We're not losing energy. We're losing usable energy.
Well, this would also be false.
I don't really think. I honestly think that this is just like a bunch of you jibber japping the random words and not actually like paying attention.
And you're the one jibber japping. Between the two of us, I'm the only one that's ever like done any work on thermodynamics when we were in school.
But wait. Okay, so in a closed system, usable energy decreases over time. The second law doesn't say that.
No, that's not really what it's saying, and I don't even think you know what usable energy means. When it talks about usable energy, it's just talking about the energy that is capable of producing anything. Like, for example, if you've got a particle here and a particle here, and they have got different temperatures, you're going to have energy transfer one to another. But when they're in equilibrium, there's no more energy transfer unless there's something causing an imbalance to no longer be at equilibrium. And that's easy to achieve if you have gravity, and we do.
Yeah, so you just now said that the energy basically gets weaker and they use each other to stay alive. What the hell? What the hell are you talking about?
I didn't say any of that. Are you okay?
Yes, you did.
Are you not? Are you like? Are you intoxicated today?
No. What are you talking about right now?
It's pretty simple.
And also, I just want to clarify that the other guy agrees with me and not you.
No, he does not.
I didn't agree with you.
That's what the second law says. He literally agreed with
No.
me. He said right.
No,
You
I didn't
said
agree
no.
with you.
Now he's backtracking. We got this on video, buddy.
Sorry, you're still
Yes.
wrong.
I'm not wrong.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so okay, yeah.
Matthew,
all-
let me ask you a question. Matthew,
remember
hold
when
on,
you told
hold
me
on.
that
Matthew,
gravity creates order? Remember that?
Matthew, I have a question for you, Matthew. I have a question for you. Just a
What?
quick question.
What?
Amongst the three of us, who is the electrical engineer that actually has done work on this?
Are you finished?
The subject that we're talking about, yeah, I'm fin. I'll ask the question. The subject that we're talking about, who's the person who's actually done actual work on it? Who's the electrical engineer that actually has done work on it?
Oh, I
Is
thought
it
you was
me?
gonna say
Is it
like,
you?
oh,
Or is it
we're the
Justin?
ones who actually do the work, and we know and you don't. But yeah, it's not like he's totally disagreeing with what I mean, though. He literally said no at first, and then he said no, not really. I'm going based off of things that he said before in the past. So everything that I'm saying right now is just basically
You
words that he
clearly
said and a
aren't
contention
doing
for the words that he
anything with
said.
things I've said before. I've told
This
you.
is
In fact,
literally this is just
I've
a
got
contention for
I've got
everything that you said.
notes from the last thing that we've
I
talked
got
about, and
videos.
as usual, you have no idea what you're talking about, and you don't even have a good memory.
Okay, but literally everything that I'm going based off of was what you said. What are you talking about?
No, it wasn't.
Hey,
Yeah,
Matthew,
it
how
is.
does this any just get us to a God? Because
It
we still
doesn't.
haven't gotten to that yet. We haven't gotten to a God yet
You never-
at all. You just keep talking
Well,
about entropy,
the
closed
question
systems.
you're asking.
We're not at a God yet. What are we at? When do we get to the
the
God
question
thing?
right now that you're asking, how does the universe beginning prove there's a God? That's the question you're meaning to ask right now.
No,
That's
we
what
didn't
I'm
mean to ask
asking
that
you.
at all.
That's what I'm asking you. I'm asking you everything that you're talking about. How does it get us to a God?
Because this is an argument for the universe beginning, and he's saying, how does this get us to God?
Matthew,
You're saying
even if the universe
doesn't prove
began,
God.
that wouldn't show that the God you believe in made it.
That wouldn't show it in what way?
If let's say if we grant you that the universe had a beginning, that would not demonstrate that it was the God that you believe in that created the universe.
Wouldn't that demonstrate that it needs a cause, right?
It would demonstrate it would need a cause, but that doesn't mean that the cause is a supernatural
what would that
agent
cause be
outside
like?
of space and time.
What would that cause
We
be like?
wouldn't know. It could be a natural cause that we don't understand yet.
Okay, but if the universe began, what is the universe beginning? Space, time, and matter, right?
No, there's a number of different models. There's a number of different models for the beginning of the universe. Some of them include no time at all. Hold on, my cat's trying to
Can you give
destroy
me
my
one
desk.
model that goes eternally into the past, real quick?
Yeah, you can do Sean Carroll's cyclical model.
Show me.
You can do show you the model or show you the
Show me a real physics model. Show me a real physics model that goes eternally.
Yeah, Justin would know. I want to know. Justin would know. But he's bringing it up right now.
Model that goes eternally into the past.
Oh, easy. Okay.
Because you can't.
Well, there's a bunch of them. Sean Carroll is vaguely popular right now for this particular thing, but there's also the Hartle Hawking, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. The one I'm thinking of is Roger Penrose's cyclical model. That's probably the one I like.
Oh, you're talking about
maybe the one I like best.
You're talking about Triple C.
No, I'm talking about Roger Penrose.
That's. Oh, I thought you said David Penrose. My bad.
No, Roger Penrose has a conformal concyclical cosmology model.
Wait, is that Roger or is it David?
It's Roger.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of them. There's like 12 different concyclical models. Like you can pick your poison there. And all of the concyclical models work mathematically and they have scientific support. What we don't have any scientific support for is a magic man in the sky that zapped the universe into existence.
Oh, I know what we have support for. So the Big Bang Theory is a standard model, and then you say that we have the Copenhagen survey, but that doesn't say that there's no beginning of time. It's just saying that there's not an absolute beginning. So you're just going on live streams and lying about everything.
The survey, we went over this last time. The survey
does not say that time did not begin at the Big Bang.
We'll just pull up the survey again since you weren't listening the first time.
Not an absolute beginning.
Yeah, we'll just
Matthew. Woo-saw for me real quick, bro. Woo-saw. All right? Because you're super excited and going a mile a minute. Yeah, woo-saw. Woo-saw. Like, relax. Yes, Matt. I'm saying relax.
Are you accusing me of gish gallop?
I'm accusing you of being too excited. Relax, bro. I need you to relax.
I'm not
Because
excited.
every time we say something, you have to jump right in and interject. Relax for us real quick, bro.
Because I don't even know who you are, buddy. All right, I'm talking to this guy.
But buddy,
I'm that guy. Yeah, I mean, I'm that guy. That's who I am. I'm that guy. I'm the guy that your girlfriend wants. I'm that guy, Matthew.
Hey yo,
my girlfriend's 15 years old, bro.
Are you? Wait, how the fucking old are you, Matthew?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
You're over 18, you fucking pedophile.
Yeah, it's like how old is you?
No.
Now that's going into the chat notes for today's episode.
Yeah. How old is you, Matthew?
Admits he's a pedo. That's gonna go really well for you. Yeah, man. Talking about not thinking.
I tried to get you. I got myself. I guess we got each other.
No, you definitely got yourself.
That was a big cell phone there, my guy. But yeah,
yeah, that'd be a blunder. So, well, no, you said it of yourself. I'm just agreeing with you. So we'll do this for the last time. I won't be doing this again. The survey is this dude's not even sober. All right, you know what, Matt, we're not going to do this today. No.
I don't think you're okay, bro.
You got to get out of here before you get arrested for pedophilia, apparently.
Wow, my goodness! Wow,
he really proved amazing. God today. I mean, are you a believer now? Okay. Well, shit, friends. We've got some people loaded up here. It looks like Timegate is going to be next. If you want to be next, now's a good time to get in. Don't wait till 9 o'clock tonight to get into the queue because we might not be able to get you. And Timegate just left, so I guess we're going to do Brian after that. Chris Stover, good to see your friends, is still not related to Ben. Thanks for clarification, but he seems cool. Scheduled for shoulder surgery number 8. Holy shit, that's a lot. To fix my God's perfectly designed anatomy. May Doug keep me safe and bless Justin's cleansing. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. And hopefully your 8th will be your last. Holy shit. But
yeah, man. Hope you're all right, Chris.
Fine tuning and all that, right? Chandari, thank you for the super chat. Says, question for Volsi. I apologize if this is inappropriate, but as a black person, how do you feel about black Christians given the history of slavery?
Nah, not offended at all. This is a question I get a lot, and I always say what Chris Rock says. You have a very short memory. That's what I always say. You have a short memory. One of the things about Christianity, the thing is that when it comes to speaking to black Christians, I try to be very, very understanding because I came from that tradition. And not only that, because of the history of the United States, because of the history of the West, there were not a lot of institutions that black people could have built where we were free from scrutiny, or we were free from not being feared. Or free from hatred. So the only thing around that time was Christianity. The black church was the center of community. Yeah, I mean, it was a center of communal relations, of childcare, of even business and commerce. The black church was it. So I get it. For a lot of people for a lot of Christians a lot of black Christians to leave Christianity, they're not only losing their support network, they're also losing a sense of their identity because it's been part of the community for so long. So I am, person like I am, empathetic. That's the word I'm looking for. I am very, very empathetic towards black Christians, but being empathetic doesn't mean that I can't be assertive in saying that this religion has caused damage to our community as well. You know what I mean? For a lot of beliefs within the community, a lot of the toxic beliefs that are internal into the culture is more of a political thing. I don't want to go to live, but a lot of these internal issues that we have, a lot of them are from Christianity, especially when it comes to misogynistic beliefs. You know what I mean? A lot of that comes from Christianity. A lot of that didn't really exist prior to that. You see what I mean? A lot of it comes from Christianity and Islam. So anytime I meet a black Christian, the first thing that one of the first things that we talk about is the sense of identity. And I get that. I do get that. I do understand that. But I'm always still assertive in the fact that this has caused damage to our community and we need to deconstruct from it. Even if you end up still believing, the fact that you think more critically about what you're believing now is a win for me in my opinion, because there are too many people. I'm not gonna say on the live, but there are too many people that I see out there, especially Black Christians, who don't recognize. I'll end it there. It goes into a lot of things in our community, and I'll have to end it there. But yeah, but thank you for the question. I appreciate that. I'm very empathetic towards Black Christians, but I'm still assertive on how much damage the Black church has caused to us.
All right, we've got a couple people waiting to get in. I think Brian was next, so let's look at Brian, and then after that, it looks like Jimmy, and then Brandon. Welcome in, Brian. Are you at least 18?
Yes.
Awesome. And do you believe in God?
We've had this before. I believe in Yahuwah.
The same Brian as before, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah. Let's see. What do you see? Believes in Yahuwah Shuwah. There we go.
What?
And
let me ask you a question. This because
it's definitely not called Paleo Hebrew. You absolutely don't know any Paleo Hebrew.
It is.
No, it's not.
Actually, is.
No, it's not.
It is.
There's no Shurik in Paleo Hebrew, idiot.
I'd hate to break the news to you, but yeah, it was like BC when that's first script of Hebrew, so you don't know your history.
And there wasn't a Shurik in the original form of Hebrew that came closer to the... That comes closer to the exilic period.
I got evidence of.
You don't.
I'm not here to argue that.
All right. Well, I know you're not here to argue that, so you shouldn't have said it.
Believe in. What I'm saying is that you asked me a question, I answered your question. That's part of communication. When I asked you a question,
you're a great communicator. Right? You're the best of the communicators. Can't wait. So, what's your argument for God today?
Fast talking. So, Yahuwah is his real name, not whatever you.
Certainly not the case. But go ahead and give me your bad argument.
So, my bad argument is that it's not even has to do with something I created. It's something I listen to. So, when I hear your guys' speeches, and this is atheist, and you guys are trying to prove a point to what you call Christians.
He's not going to bring an argument.
You're trying to, usually I am. So you actually have to listen. So you actually have to understand that when you're bringing all these points up, you come attacking at scriptures, and your scriptures or attacks are they come as what you was trying to call the other dude a pedophile. Is that your biggest argument is that if we have a heavenly Father, how could he let children get raped?
No, that's never been our argument. Not once.
Sickening.
Brian, never once have I ever said that. What I said, was God didn't allow it; He caused it. That's the difference there. Allowing something to happen, first of all, is terrible. But causing it to happen, I think, is even worse.
He caused it to happen.
I know He did.
Yeah. So because the people failed the citizens around them and don't protect them. That's somehow his responsibility because
he
you lacked your part actually protecting your neighbors, right?
No, he says he's causing it. Oh, fuck, yeah.
I thought he was all
off. What I'm saying is that everybody likes to put the point to him because they're lazy. They don't want to actually take action in their own hands. He's
not all powerful?
But you're like, more powerful what? He gave you power, didn't he? He gave you free will, didn't he?
Yeah. He did. But he's the one that's watching over.
He's the one when he created you.
Hey, Brian. Let's go through this from the beginning. As a matter of fact, does God know everything? Is He all knowing?
Yes.
Okay, so if He's all knowing, that means that He knows everything we're gonna do, past, present, future.
He told you that.
So we don't have any free will. Everything that we do, He already knows. It's already set in stone.
What does that have to do? No, that's not.
He just said we have free will.
If you just said that,
hold on. Brian, I just asked you, does God know everything past, present, future?
Yes.
You said yes.
Yes.
Did He create everything as well, past, present, future?
Yes.
Okay, so if He knows everything past, present, future, He created everything past, present, future. That means me right now doing all of this, He created these events too. So I don't have free will, according to you.
Actually, no, that's not what He said at all. And that's way out of text.
I'm going off what you said. Let's go through this again. Does God know everything past, present? Brian,
No,
does God know Brian?
You can
Does
keep
God,
repeating the same thing. I'm gonna keep saying yes.
Does God know everything past, present,
If we
future?
all talk fast talk each other, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Brian, does God know everything past, present, future?
Did I say yes?
Okay.
You think my answer is gonna change for you?
Did God create everything past, present, future?
What was the answer last time? It's not gonna change.
Okay, you said yes. That means according to your worldview. That means
that has nothing to do with
according to the theology that you just stated, we don't have free will.
Actually, that is a lie, what you just stated, because it has nothing to do with what was said. Because he created something, what does that have to do with free will? Free will is I give you a simple set of rules. You have the free will either to follow them or to disobey them. He's not going to force it down your throat. He's not going to bully you. He's not going to kill you for not believing in it. He says you have the free will to walk this earth and do whatever you want to do. And if you choose not to walk with him, that is your path and your punishment.
That's not free will. If you have to punish somebody, if you punish somebody for making a decision, they don't have free will.
It means he's watching your heart.
So, Brian, we need you to focus because Volsey's trying to explain something to you that maybe is like in your understanding. Okay, so maybe I'll dumb it down. Let's imagine that like I'm a creator, right? I know all the future, right? So in this analogy, I know all things. Now I'm at the top of a hill, and I've got one ball to roll down that hill. I've just got one ball, right? Now I'm at the top of the hill. No matter where I put that ball, I know exactly where it's going to end up when I put it down that hill, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, if I put it down the front side of the hill, does that mean that I wanted it to roll down the front side of the hill when I could have put it down the back side of the hill?
I have no clue.
Well, try to think, okay? If I know the future, and I've got an infinite number of options for me disposing of this ball down the hill, and I decide to throw it down the front side of the hill, does it not imply that my desire was for everything to happen where that ball went when I put it down in front of the hill?
Yeah.
All right, because I'm not making arbitrary decisions. I'm all-knowing. Okay, so what that means is the outcome of me pushing the ball down that hill was the outcome that I wanted. Now, as it turns out, God did the same thing. He had an infinite number of worlds he could have created. He knew the future, and he decided to create this exact world, the world where Volsey and I would be atheists, the world where you would be an obstinate believer. This is the world he decided to create, even though he could have done anything. The minute he spoke everything into existence, he knew that this particular iteration would result in every single thing happening. So what that means is you only have the illusion of free will because God personally selected the world where he knew you would make the decisions that you made and we would make the decisions that we made, but he selected that path for us because he had an infinite number of paths to choose and he chose that one. That's why you don't have free will.
But you just said you had free will. You said you had the world that actually made you where you're complete atheist, and yet you're on the phone. I haven't seen you getting smitten yet.
I said the illusion of free will.
Illusion. Because funny is that I have the choice to believe, just like every other person out there that believes in our Heavenly Father, and you have a choice to believe, to actually believe that when you die you go to a black hole and that's it.
Actually, don't have the choice.
Nobody's going to judge you.
You don't have the choice.
What I'm saying is that
you only think that you have the choice.
Things. Atheist belief is that
when God created when God created the world, did he know that you were going to be a believer?
Actually, he built it for a family and hoped that we would actually be a family. But
when God created the world, did he know that you were going to be a believer?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you choose to make God wrong about what he knows?
You can choose to change your path, yes.
I didn't ask that. I said, can you choose to make God wrong about what he knows?
No.
I didn't ask about that either.
Choose your path.
Didn't ask about that either. Try to focus here. Try to focus, Brian. Pay attention. My question is really easy.
Your choice.
It's just a yes or no question. Can you make God wrong about what he knows?
That is my pure answer.
It's just a yes or no. Well, the answer needs to be yes or no.
Yes,
try it
if my
again.
heavenly Father knows I have choices, and I chose.
No, I didn't.
go.
I didn't ask
Brian,
you about
That wasn't the
choices.
question. That wasn't the question. The
So if
question
I
was
choose, no, I'm saying is, if you
Brian's
choose
crashing out hard.
Brian, listen
You
to us,
can't say
please.
my name all day long. What I'm
Brian,
saying
listen
is,
to us,
you're not
please.
listening.
Brian, listen to us,
Huh?
please. The question that we're trying to ask you is, can God be wrong?
No.
No, he can't. Exactly. So that means that we already established, like you already agree with me, that the God that you believe in knows everything and created everything, which means he possibly can't be wrong. Which means that
So
I don't have.
wrong.
That means that I have the illusion of free will. You have the illusion of free will because everything that we do, he already knew what happened. We can't choose anything else.
Illusion.
We can't choose
Free
anything
will
else,
is
though.
basically
But Brian, we can't choose
choice.
anything else. Right? We cannot
Okay.
choose anything else. You just said that God knows everything and he cannot be wrong. He knows our choices before we make them, and he
What does
cannot
that
be
have to do
wrong.
with you, though?
Which means that I cannot choose anything different than what God already knows.
Really, what does that say about you, though? Look at your screen right there. It says
It just means
God
that
is
it's predestined.
fiction, right? Prove us
Yeah.
wrong. So that
Series of events that will send me to eternal damnation.
say free will. If I say yes or no to that statement right there,
Brian, do you have an
what
issue with
statement?
listening?
you
He's
don't know
very
what free will is,
confused.
do you?
I certainly do.
So free will stands for is if I have a choice to follow my heavenly Father, or I choose to follow atheism, or I choose to follow Satan. I mean, you have.
Well, that's not what free will is. You want me to give you the actual definition of free will? Do you want me to give you the actual definition of free will?
Yeah, there you go. Who's it from, though?
From the dictionary.
Dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ability to make a decision without any outside force or coercion. But the problem that you have is it's not, you don't have a free choice because one of two things is going to be, actually both of the two things I'm about to say are true. One, God will punish you if you make any decisions that he doesn't like. And number two, he already created the world where you would make this decision. He could have created any other world. When he made the recipe for the universe, he specifically included all the ingredients for the universe to be exactly the way he wanted it. And those ingredients meant that Brian is going to believe a thing, and you can't do anything about it, because if God created that world and knew what you were going to do before he created it, then even after he created it, you couldn't have chosen otherwise.
I'm confused where you're lost here.
You are confused.
Let's go back to your childhood.
You are very confused. You are very confused.
Dad told you, no, I want to explain this. When your dad told you, hey, boy, you better not stick your hand in that candy jar before you eat your dinner.
They only have one illustration ever.
Your dad, or you choose. Hey, no. This is a good representation. You don't want to hear
No,
this.
it's not.
You're actually factual.
You're missing the part. You're missing. You're missing, Brian. You're actually missing the piece. No, you're missing the piece because the analogy is that the person, one, created all things, and number two is omniscient. Your dad isn't omniscient, and your dad didn't create the universe.
Your dad knows exactly what you're going to do. He knows you want your hand.
No, he doesn't.
Jar.
Wait, are you omniscient? Do you know everything your child ever did?
You know your kid's looking at that candy jar. He's
imagine being this dumb.
You know he's going to sneak it out.
Imagine being so dumb that you think having a little bit of predictive ability over your children is the equivalent of having omniscience. It doesn't prove me wrong. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's very stupid, Brian, because what happens when people are wrong? Because my parents thought that I would take. My parents thought I would take the cookie out the cookie jar, but I never did because I was a very obedient child. My sisters did, but I didn't because my sisters were the ones who were disobedient. They took the cookies. I didn't. But my parents thought that I would take the cookie, and they were wrong.
Well, what happened to your sisters?
The issue here is that what Justin already said. Our parents are not omniscient, Brian. Our parents are not omniscient. No, I'm not listening. Our parents are not. I'm not listening. The parents are not omniscient. Our parents are not omniscient. Our parents are not all knowing, Brian. Our parents are not all knowing, Brian.
You don't want to hear.
Our parents are not all knowing, Brian. The God that you believe in is supposedly all knowing.
Talk somebody all day long.
Brian. Yeah, our parents are not omniscient.
Oh, really?
Our parents are not
What does that do
omniscient.
anything?
The God that you believe in supposedly
Okay, what
is
does that do
omniscient,
anything?
which means that he can't be wrong.
So you
Which
just
means all the
said your
choices that we
dad-
make
your
are
dad
already
knew
known to him.
You guys are going to stick your hand in the jar. He was wrong about you because you made a different choice. Your sisters didn't. What happened to your sisters?
That's
after they stuck their hand in the
irrelevant
jar?
to my point. That's irrelevant.
Not even
No,
in the
that
same
shit's very
ballpark of
much
relevancy. No
Because
one's
it
Brian, that's not
follows what
irrelevant. That's not
Scripture
irrelevant.
says.
Nobody
Do
here
it.
is talking about consequences. We're talking about whether or not we
There you
actually do
go.
choose our
That is
future,
what
or whether or
Scripture
not
said.
God predetermined it for
That's
us.
what you subtracted from Scriptures.
Nobody subtracted
not.
That's what
anything
you
from the
did.
scripture.
No, it's not.
Scripture says I have free will to do what I want. But
Where?
if
Show
I
me that.
choose to follow
Show it to
Where
me.
it says
the
that?
wrong way,
Where it says
I
that,
will
Brian?
be punished.
Show me where it
Brian,
says
where does
that.
it say that? Verse, please.
Where you got? Do I have to go to? Hold on, I'm telling you about this, and you're arguing it.
Because the Bible in Romans 9 says that it depends not on human will or exertion, but on God who shows mercy. So is your salvation based on human will, or is it based on God's mercy?
There's no consequences.
Is God's will based? Is God's salvation based on His will and His mercy, or on our will?
What's that Matthew telling you that
Romans 9:16.
all this all the stuff, and then
Romans 9:16. You're gonna
9:16,
I never
you're
knew
gonna
you.
address it or no?
what'd you say in the chapter you're looking for?
Romans 9:16. Do you have a Bible?
Yep.
Well, while he's looking for that, we'll see. I'm going to use the restroom.
Sure thing. I'm gonna bring it up right now. So you there? Romans 9:16. You there, Brian?
I'm getting there.
Mm-hmm. All right. While he's using the restroom and while Brian is getting to Romans 9:16, shout out to my chat. I appreciate you all being here, and thank you all for letting me on this live all over on Deconstruction Zone. I appreciate the audience over here on Deconstruction Zone. Over on the Black Atheist Coalition, I appreciate y'all watching me, even those who are calling me stupid. I appreciate you. Just call in on tiny.cc/dzlive. Same thing over on my channel, Volsy Thoughts. tiny.cc/dzlive. You guys can go ahead and come on up and discuss with us. All right, Brian, you got there yet?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So Roman 9:16. So then it depends not on human will or exertion, but on God who has mercy. You know what that means, right?
Yeah, but I'm going to read an original text.
The original text. You read Greek now.
The original text wasn't, yeah, it wasn't
No, it
Greek.
is
You read
not.
Greek?
So it is. Then it is not of him that wills, nor of him that runs, but the Elohim that shows mercy. For the Scripture says unto Pharaoh, even for
he's
the
reading the
same
KJV.
purpose have I raised you up, that I might show you my power in you, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth.
Mhm.
Therefore has he
Did he say
mercy
Elohim?
on whom he will have mercy.
I think he just said Elohim.
Who
I
says
think
that
he
it's
did too.
owed to you? Who says
Did
that's
you-
because you walked the church?
Did you catch the part where God says that your future is not your own will, but God's mercy?
So you agree with us, right, Brian, where it clearly says in Romans that our future is up to God, it's not up to us?
Boy, didn't that make sense? If I had free will to say, I'm not
You
going to
don't have free will.
and I actually follow through, and
But
then I
this
make
verse-
it to the kingdom in front of judgment.
But Brian,
who
this
decides
verse,
where I go afterwards.
Brian, this verse clearly says that
What he
your
says.
future is not up to you, it's up to God. So that means
Yeah.
tomorrow is not up to you, it's up to God. The next day is not up to
every
you, it's
day
up
is
to
not
God.
promised to you.
So you don't
That
not
says
have
live
free
day
will.
by day, and don't make plans for the future because you don't know what the future holds. That's the oldest saying in the book. I mean, what are you going with?
That's actually not
Oh,
the oldest
so
saying, but
talking about.
So don't make plans for the future. So you're not gonna pay your bills this month?
That's what I'm saying. You trust
No, you
in
said
him.
don't make plans for the future. So you ain't gonna pay your
That's
bills
what
this
I'm
month?
saying. Can't you pay bills on a daily basis? What do you got to plan for a future for on that one for?
You pay your bills on a daily basis.
It's just telling you that you don't go out and thinking that, oh, I'm going to be here on the 31st to pay that bill. Even though you save the money up for it, it just makes sure. Only thing our Heavenly Father says, make sure you have enough money saved up for your children just in case anything happens to you.
Why do we have children if we shouldn't plan for the future?
Make sure you have profit for your children.
Why should we have children if we're not going to be planning for the future?
What does that have to do with their future?
You said don't plan for the future, so why we have children?
Do you not know what Genesis said?
What about it?
I made you to make a big giant family, not for you to sit there and make a couple of people and go, oh, here we go.
So we should plan for the future? Which one is it?
Make children and live.
So we should plan for the future. Which one is it?
What are you planning for?
This is very confusing.
This is very confusing.
No, you're confusing me.
Very confused.
What does it go from our Heavenly Father giving you free will to you wanting kids in the future?
Because as we already explained this, if God knows everything and he cannot be wrong, as you already agreed, you're asking me the question, now you're talking. If God knows everything and he cannot be wrong, which you already agreed with, then that means any choice that we make, he already planned it out, which means we don't have free will.
So you do have free will, though.
How do we have free will if any choice that we make, he already knew beforehand and he cannot be wrong?
10 Commandments, right? What does it say?
He'll never answer the question. Right? He's terrified.
Actually, no, I'm not terrified of anything, but I'm telling you.
He's terrified, which is why he won't actually answer the question.
No, I'm answering your question here.
You're actually,
10 Commandments, right?
You're actually not going to answer the question.
You can't answer the question, can you?
You didn't ask a question. Volsey asked the question, and you didn't answer.
No, Brian, I asked you.
No, let's back this up. I will give Volsey more the power because apparently he thinks he needs to be the head of the mic instead of letting other people talk. See,
Brian,
up there says
you've done nothing but be an inconsiderate asshole every time you've ever been on a live stream that's included me. We have no reason to treat you with respect.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying is.
Brian, the first thing you said was you're gonna you was gonna give me the floor, and now you're trying to colonize the floor. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and give me the floor now. Right? All right, cool. So the question from the beginning was about free will. That's what we're discussing. Our point, myself and Justin, was that if God knows everything and God created all events, which you agreed with, then that means we cannot have free will because all the choices that we make in our lives, he knows beforehand and he cannot be wrong. So if he cannot be wrong about any of the choices that we make that he knows beforehand, we didn't choose anything. We don't have free will. How do we have free will if he knows all the choices that we make and he cannot be wrong?
My question back to you is that
he'll never answer. A question is not an answer.
Actually, here's your answer, Chief. You answered your own question. You told me a story about you and your sisters. Well, you kind of answered your question there too. It's the same answer I'm going to give you.
Still waiting for the answer.
You have a choice to make a decision on your life.
Nope.
No, we don't, bro.
You do.
No, we don't.
Who told you don't? No, seriously.
The Bible
did. You're at your teeth in front of your crowd.
The Bible told us.
Really?
Yeah.
In fact, is the third world country.
Before David was born, were all of his days written for him?
Oh. For who?
David. King David, the guy that God loves so much. Did not God write all of his days for him ahead of time?
Yeah, didn't he fulfill his prophecy?
So that means David was doing what God wrote for him to do. That's why he says, behold, your eyes beheld my unformed substance. In your book were written all the days that were formed for me when none of them as yet existed. So what that means is God wrote the map for David. Yep. God designed what David would do, how long he would do it, and how he was do it. And David didn't actually have a say in it.
Now, could King David change his mind?
King David can't make God wrong about what he knows, so no.
No, could he not change his mind? Because, didn't Solomon change his mind?
He wouldn't be able to change his mind because he can't make God wrong about what he knows.
Buddy, you're backtracking here, buddy. It's
I'm
the
just
choice.
reiterating the same point that's gone over
It's
your
a
head 15
choice.
times. God can
Your Heavenly
never
Father
be
gave you
wrong about
rules.
what he
It's a
knows, which
choice.
means you can't choose otherwise.
Yeah, you can. Who told
No,
you
you
that?
can't. Because
So
God can't be.
who?
Wait, can God be wrong about what he knows?
It's not even in Scripture what you're
Can
talking
God
about.
be wrong about what he knows?
But where does that say in Scripture?
Can God be wrong about what he knows?
What he knows.
That's what I'm saying. Is you can't even.
You're not
give me a
saying anything.
Scripture
We're waiting
to
for
support me in
you.
your statements.
I've already given you
But
two,
I can.
and you haven't addressed
And you
either
don't
one of
wanna hear
them.
it.
I've already given you two of them. I'm still waiting for you to answer whether or not you can make God wrong about what he
You
knows.
King David. I said, did King David
Still
have a
waiting
choice?
for you to answer the question. Can you make God wrong
I
about
said,
what he
did
knows?
King James have
So
a
he'll
choice?
never
You
answer.
said no.
All right. Well, I think we've heard enough of you for today, Brian. We're going to move on to an adult. Okay. Let me know if we need to send a nurse to give you some oatmeal to gum with your dentures when you get them out tonight. Okay. I'll send someone to tuck you into bed.
Oatmeal and some melatonin and some essence of nightshade.
All right. I think Jimmy was up
Oh,
next.
my
Let me grab a
goodness.
couple of super chats, friends, and we'll pull Jimmy right
Sure
up
thing.
in here. Birdkeeper says, "Let me tell you something. Actually,
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. All right. Let me tell you something.
Jesus came on me and a cloud last night and said he's not the prophet. Checkmate, Christians. Yep, divine revelation. Proved.
Hey, divine revelation.
Unsell says, perhaps the philosophy guys think if they run the same argument for the 1000th time, they will become convincing. Crazy. Some people fall for this. You know what? That's the part that gets me with the philosophy goofs is I know that in 3/4 of the conversations they're going to have, these arguments are going to fail miserably. I don't know why they just continue to run them anyways. Surf Murph, hey, good to see you. Thank you for the super. This is Justin and Volsey. What is Doug's view of oat milk? If I'm lactose intolerant, will he still bless my bowl of cornflakes? A bowl of cornflakes. Sorry, we missed a letter in there. Listen, Doug absolutely loves cereal, so you're good. No worries there. Design, good to see you
Loves
tonight.
it.
Thank you for the super chat. Says, when we factor in the fact that a Black Christian might receive better treatment before the American legal system, we're looking at a legit survival tactic. I get it. True. There were rules in place.
There were rules in place. Yeah. And what's crazy about this is that even though they were afraid of Martin Luther King and that message, right? But the question that Martin Luther King brought up to the segregationists in the South was something that scared a lot of people. He asked a simple question: is heaven segregated? You know what I mean? Once he asked is heaven segregated, a lot of Southern Christians became uncomfortable with Jim Crow. Yeah, you know what I mean? And they were afraid of that. But the ones that they really went after is the Black secular organizations such as the Black Panthers. Because the Black Panthers didn't claim any religion. Yeah, you know what I mean? And of course they were Marxists and they were like Marxist materialists, of course. So Huey P. Newton, I know, was an atheist, and so was Fred Hampton. And then what happened to Fred Hampton? They immediately had to take him out. You know, so it's just one of those things. Like it's crazy that even though a Black Christian might receive better treatment, a little bit, it's not that much. You know, but the fact that little is enough. You know, just that little is enough.
I'm going to read two more super chats. We're going to bring Jimmy in here. Chris says, I forget which Christian apologetic is it that includes laughing, yelling, deflecting, and not listening. All glory to Doug, whose existence needs no cope. Indeed, that's the case. Most of the apologetics for people who sound like Brian basically is a whole lot of incredulity. I think that's the best apologetic they're going to bring. And the design with the follow-up super chat says, isn't free will debunked by every genie story ever? Have we all not agreed that it would not be justified to see you trampled by a herd of deer after wishing for $1 million? A spiritual deer.
The spiritual deer.
Oh shit, that was a good one, Design.
Yeah, I love that. Shout out to Design.
All right, we'll bring Jimmy in here. Welcome in, Jimmy. Are you at least 18?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Jimmy, do you believe in God?
I believe in one God, yes.
Sure. And which God is it?
I I believe in Jesus Christ.
Gotcha.
But I'm wondering, what God do you guys think is fiction?
Well, I would say all of them.
Yeah, essentially all of
And
them.
how do you know that?
So when we describe something that's fictional, we're suggesting that it exists maybe in the imagination or in literature, but then not in real life. The same way you would say that the tooth fairy is fictional.
Yeah, but I'm asking, how do you know that? How do you
Yeah.
know all gods are fiction?
Well, it's
Yeah, it's
pretty
never
easy.
been demonstrated. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Justin.
Well, first of all, it's never been demonstrated, which means the claim isn't warranted. The other thing is
So,
that
hold on, so
almost
you're
all the
claiming
God
that- so you're
concepts in
claiming no one
existence
knows?
entail contradictions.
So you're claiming no one knows.
No, I didn't say that.
So you're admitting that someone could know for a fact that God exists.
Sure, you have evidence of it.
Well, no, I'm just asking. You're making the claim that God is fiction. I'm just
Yeah.
asking where your proof is.
Yeah, because the God that you believe in entails contradictions.
So, well, hold on. So you're saying Jesus Christ didn't exist, or doesn't?
No, the human Jesus Christ probably existed. Yeah.
Yeah, do we have no issue with Jesus
So
existing as a
Jesus
person?
Christ is my
It's
God.
hold on, Jerry.
So, and you
Hold on,
guys are saying
Jimmy,
he's
Jimmy,
fiction.
Jimmy. Hold on.
Yeah.
It's possible that Jesus as a guy could have existed, but Jesus as a God is definitely fictional.
Well, then what you're saying is we have a difference of definition of what God is, right? And that
So-
perhaps so what's your definition of God then?
I'm talking about like a supernatural being. I'm talking about the Jesus that's in the Bible that walked on
What's
water, turned
supernatural?
water into wine.
What's your definition of supernatural?
Something outside of the natural. I'm not.
Is the word supernatural
Definition?
tripping you up there, Jimmy?
Well, no, I'm just wondering what your definition of supernatural is. I'm assuming we have different definitions for a lot of things, and I'm just wondering. So we have a
Okay, so
different
I would need to
definition of what-
understand how you understand what supernatural is, because I think we all kind of have an idea what I mean by supernatural.
Well, you're the one who made the claim, not me.
Yeah,
What
I'm
is
talking.
supernatural. Give me an example of supernatural.
He just told you what it
I
means.
just said
Were you not
outside
listening?
of the outside of our reality, things that happen that are not part of our reality, like someone walking on water. That's not natural because humans have more density than water, right? So walking
there's
on
no
water is
chance
not
that a
possible.
human being could walk
So
on water.
something as a virgin
There's
birth,
no
we
chance
know
a
that
human
women
being could walk
we
on
know that
water.
women need to have sex before, or men and women need to have sex before they get pregnant and have
Women
a
need
baby,
to have
right?
sex with a man in
Before,
order to
yes,
get pregnant.
men, yes. And if that
But there's
doesn't
never been
happen,
an instance.
and if
there's
that
never been
doesn't
an
happen,
instance-
and if that doesn't happen,
Volchi,
then it's a
Volchi, calm down,
supernatural
calm down.
event.
So
So
you're telling me
hey,
that there's never- hold
Jimmy,
on, let me
hey
speak.
Jimmy, hey
You're
Jimmy,
not
hey
gonna let me
Jimmy, I'm
speak.
going to
You're
let
not
you
gonna let me
speak.
speak.
I'm
You're not
going
gonna
to
let me
let you speak
You're just
after
gonna
I'm
let me-
done. I'm
Are you
going
gonna
to
ask
let
me
you
a
speak.
question?
I'm going to let you speak, but I actually have to be done with my sentence first. I'm sorry that the middle of my sentence interrupted the beginning of yours. So
I muted him. Go
something
ahead.
that's okay. So something that's supernatural are things that are outside of our natural physical reality, such as a human walking on water. We know that's not possible. When a woman giving birth and being a virgin, we know that's not possible, right? Without having sex. Well, we have technology now to make it possible, but back then that wasn't the case, right? So that's what we mean by supernatural, turning water into wine, turning one thing into a completely different substance of another thing. They're both liquid, but water and wine are different substances. So making that happen would not be possible. That's supernatural. That's outside of our natural reality, our natural realm. That's what I mean by supernatural. We can even add, anime
But
into
for the
this.
record, God, Jesus Christ does exist, right?
He was probably a real person, sure.
So you would admit then that my God is not fiction.
No, your God is fiction.
Well, Jesus Christ is my God, and you just said that he
So,
was real.
Jimmy, we've already been over this, and I don't know why you change your name every time you come here. We can say that a human being exists without admitting
Okay,
that
but
that
that's my
human
God.
being is God.
You made the claim that
Well,
all
we'll try
gods
this
don't
then.
exist. Jesus Christ is my God. You admit that he existed.
Hey,
Therefore,
does
not
this
all
rock
gods are
exist?
fiction.
Jimmy, does this rock exist?
I don't understand what that has anything to do with what we're
Just
talking
answer the
about here.
question. Does the rock exist?
Oh yeah, that rock exists.
If I call this rock God, does that mean that this God rock exists? Or does it just mean
To
a
you,
regular
to you,
rock
it could be
exists?
God. To you, it could be.
No, in reality.
In reality, to you, it could be God.
I'm asking about me outside of my reality.
If you make the claim that that is God, then in your mind, sure.
Oh well,
We're not asking about
well,
in
there you
his
go,
It's
then.
like
mind.
if I'm a
so
man
this
and
is
I'm
this is
wearing
why
women's
Jimmy
clothes
has
and I
to call
claim
in
to
with
be
a different name
woman,
every time. Jimmy,
Because
what
it's a
was,
waste
what
of
was your
time.
name last time you called in here?
It's very
Hey Jimmy,
easy to
what name
debunk
did
your
you pick
claim.
last
I
time
just
you were
debunked
here?
your claim.
You didn't
Can you
debunk
just admit I
it. You
just
didn't
debunked
debunk a single
Well,
thing.
you
No.
both admitted
Yeah.
that Jesus Christ is real, right?
We both admit that Jesus Christ is not a god, right? So Muhammad,
Well, okay. Well, now you're making a different claim other than
Muhammad
God's fiction. And
existed, but
you're also
is
making the
Muhammad
claim
a
that
prophet?
nobody knows.
Jimmy, is Muhammad a prophet?
No,
But he existed.
correct,
But people believe he's a prophet.
correct,
But he's not a
So
prophet.
but he's a
correct.
Okay,
right.
so in the
Jimmy,
same way,
according to your own. I'm
Go
sorry. Go
ahead,
ahead.
But to
Justin.
those people,
In
he is
the-
a prophet, right? To those
we're not
people,
asking
he is
we're
a
not
prophet,
asking
right?
about somebody's perspective. We're asking about
Well,
what it is in
what you're
reality.
making is a
Jimmy,
subjective claim.
Jimmy, just shut up for 5 seconds. I this is why you have to change your name every time you come into my live, is because you're such an idiot that won't listen. Just because something exists and some people believe a thing about that thing doesn't mean that the thing they believe about it is true. The same way you don't believe in reality Muhammad was a prophet. We don't believe in reality that Jesus was God. Do you understand? I'm not asking you what people believe. I'm asking you what is reality.
So are you saying a man wearing woman's clothes is not a woman?
Again, we're talking about Jesus right now.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering. That's
I know
something
you're just
they
wondering,
claim
and this
in
is the
reality,
same
right?
thing. This is the same thing you
brought
brought up.
Muhammad. You brought up
There's-
Muhammad. So
There's the same thing you brought up last time, and that I ended up kicking you out on because you couldn't focus on the actual debate. You kept trying to pivot to nonsense, like political debates, which is not what we're doing here tonight. We're talking about
political
God.
debate?
So, do you want
How
to
is
talk
this
about
not
God or
political?
no?
How is Jesus Christ not
Is
existing?
is God a he him?
Not political. He is, yes.
Is God the Father? Does he have a penis?
Well, I was made in his image, so
So,
and I
does
have
God
a
have
penis, so
does
yes.
God have a physical penis?
He might. I don't know.
Does he have
I've
chromosomes?
never seen God. I've never seen God.
Well, why do you,
and I
if you don't know if God has chromosomes or a penis, why do you call him a father?
Well, because he refers to himself as him.
Okay, so it's okay just to pick preferred pronouns then.
Well, I'm sure that.
Oh no! I'm choking on my own
exactly.
argument now.
You're just going to interrupt me.
That's why
So you're just gonna
transphobia doesn't
interrupt
work.
So you're just going to interrupt me.
All right, you want to get back to the actual argument, or you just want to get clowned on things you don't understand?
Sure. So I want to see proof that from you guys that no gods exist whatsoever.
Oh,
Your
it's
claim was
easy.
that no God exists.
We finally got around to the actual argument. Yeah, because all the God concepts entail contradictions, namely that you can do things outside of space and time. You can't do anything outside of time because time is a sequencing of events, and without a
God
sequencing
is
of
bound by
events,
logic as well. God is bound.
so God's illogical?
No, God is logic.
No, God isn't logic. Logic isn't a thing.
God is logic.
No, logic's not a thing.
Logic is a thing.
Logic is not a noun.
So non-contradiction, the law of non-contradiction isn't real?
The law of non-contradiction describes reality. It's not a thing that exists in the universe.
So it's not real?
It describes something.
So it's not real, is what you're saying?
No, Jimmy. That's not what we said. What we're saying is that it's describing something that we see in reality, is not a thing unto itself.
So the laws of logic aren't real?
The laws of logic are descriptions of reality. How many times do you have to hear it?
They're descriptions of reality, bro. We look out into the universe, we see how it works, and we're saying that things don't contradict themselves. Well, that's one of the laws.
Where do those laws come from? Where those laws?
They come from us.
So they don't exist outside of a mind?
They're invented by a mind.
Okay, so you're saying that if the mind didn't exist, the human mind, we'll just say for simplicity that the human mind is the only mind in the universe. Okay, so let's not bring up aliens and stuff like that. So if the human mind didn't exist, then contradiction could exist in the universe?
No.
So then it exists absent the human mind?
No, what we're saying is the laws of logic are describing the behavior of things. So if human mind didn't exist, Jimmy, shut the fuck up. If human minds didn't exist, then the law wouldn't exist, right? The law of excluded middle wouldn't exist. The law of non-contradiction wouldn't exist. The law of identity wouldn't exist because a mind had to come up with it. But the behavior that it's describing, the way things interact with reality, that behavior will still keep on behaving that way. So the laws that we're referring to don't have existence, but they are describing things that do actually happen, something that happens consistently, which is why we can call them laws.
Yeah, so they exist outside the human mind.
No.
So something can be contradictory outside the human mind.
Nope.
No.
So then they only exist within the mind.
Yeah, the laws of logic are mind dependent.
Okay, so if humans go away, okay, the mind goes away, the human mind, those laws go away.
The laws go away, but the phenomenon that
So
they
then there would be
describe
contradiction in the
still
universe.
continues. No, there wouldn't, idiot. The laws of logic.
So something could.
The laws of logic are descriptive, not prescriptive, right? Nothing in the universe is checking with the laws of logic. The laws of logic are just describing the behavior of the universe. That's what's happened. Also, I'm pretty sure this is this praise I am? Hey, Jimmy, is this praise?
Who?
Are you praise I am?
I don't know who that is.
You sound a lot like praise I am.
Nope, I'm just trying to figure out if the laws of logic exist outside of the human mind.
Well, we already told you that the laws of logic are mind dependent.
They don't. So okay, so they
All right,
don't.
Jimmy.
This sounds a lot like praise.
So you're saying
Jimmy,
that?
hey, Jimmy.
Hold on, Bolsey. Hold on.
I got you.
Before you derail
I'm not going to derail it.
I'm
on the same subject. I'm on the same subject. Listen, Jimmy. Would trees exist whether or not humans are here?
Oh, sorry, I muted him.
Laws of logic.
Right,
He wasn't listening.
So wait. I'm within the laws of. I'm just trying to explain. I'm just trying to demonstrate what. I'm just trying to elucidate what Justin is saying. If humans weren't around, trees would still exist, right?
Correct, but they wouldn't exist.
Hold on, Jimmy.
That, Voltsy?
Jimmy, hold on.
Yeah, oh, so you're not
Jimmy, let me just finish what you're saying. Okay, so trees would exist whether or not humans are here. Would the word tree, would the description of brown and green, would those exist without humans being here?
The color green would exist, correct?
No, I'm talking about the color. I'm talking about the word. The description, would that exist?
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
So that's what Justin is saying about the laws of logic. The phenomenon is still there, but the description of that phenomenon depends on us.
Okay, so the laws of logic exist outside of our mind.
No,
the phenomenon,
that's
not
what he
the
just
description.
Said.
No, he didn't.
That's what. So can a tree exist and not exist at the same time, absent the human mind?
Obviously, the tree can't exist and not exist at the same time.
Okay,
but
so the laws of logic exist outside the human mind.
Wrong again.
You said that their mind.
The laws of logic are just describing the way things behave. That's it. That doesn't mean the law exists. It just means that this is how things behave, and these laws describe that behavior. It's not very difficult.
So you're just going to keep muting me?
Yeah. You're the type of person that needs muted.
Yeah. Often when you mute people, that means you're losing the argument.
No, it means you're incapable of listening.
You have to mute me.
No, Jimmy, it just means that you're being a disruptive asshole. That's why you get muted.
Yeah. In fact, typically the only people that get muted in my stream are like pieces of shit like you.
Oh, okay. So now that we've discovered that trees can't exist and not exist at the same time, can that happen absent the human mind? Absent the mind?
You mean, does the phenomenon still hold true if we're not here to describe it?
Correct.
Yeah, the phenomenon still holds true even if we're not here to describe it.
So that law of
logic, the phenomenon, the phenomenon's not a law. They were created.
Were the laws of logic discovered?
They were created.
They were created. So something existing and not existing at the same time was created, huh?
No, that's a description.
Okay.
How is this over your head? We've given you like 3 different examples, and
we gave it.
And your reptilian brain isn't even capable of understanding it. My own fucking cat can understand this. This is not very difficult.
Sure, we put words to it, but
words to what?
We didn't have words.
We put words to what?
For some.
We put words to what?
I'd say if you'd stop interrupting, I'll say. Okay. So we put words to something existing and not existing, okay? But even if we took away those words, but we understood the concept of it, right? Of something existing and not existing, that would still be there, right?
What would still be there?
Understand the concept without words.
Do laws exist?
What would still be
in
there?
The universe? Are there
No.
laws that govern the universe?
No.
So the speed of light isn't the universal speed limit of the universe.
It is, but not because the law, not because it's crazy that.
Thank you.
Actually, it wasn't easy, you dumb motherfucker. If you wait 5 seconds to hear my answer, you'd understand why it sounds so stupid. Because nothing's checking with these limits in the universe. The laws of physics are just describing behaviors that the universe typically abides by. Nothing's checking with these laws. It's not like light is like, oh fuck, I can't go faster than this. That's not how this works. The way physical laws work is we're saying, look, here's the way things behave. If it always behaves in that particular way, we're just going to call this a law because it's something that always happens, or at least almost always happens.
So the laws of physics don't exist outside the human mind either for you guys?
Nope, they're just descriptions.
So if the human mind
so
goes
Jimmy,
away,
how do we get to a God now? Jimmy, how do we get to a God now? How do we get to a God? Because we already answered this question, right? Like all the God concepts in yes, I am. All the God concepts, all the God concepts entail contradictions, and they've never been demonstrated within reality. So it's fair to say that they're fictional. Just like Frieza has never been demonstrated in reality. Just like Naruto has never been demonstrated in reality. Just like Spider-Man has never been demonstrated in reality. So we can say that they're fictional.
Hey, is this John?
So you're saying God? So you're making the claim? Making the claim that
Jimmy?
God has never existed in anyone's reality? That's a pretty bold.
Hey, Jimmy, I know exactly who this is now. Hey, Jimmy, let me ask you a question. Can you now name the
ad hominem attack me? And
can you
if I try to?
No, I'm just going to make fun of you.
Usually,
are you
in a debate?
Are you capable? I know exactly who you are now. Are you capable of naming the first 5 books of the Bible this time around? Because last time we talked, you couldn't.
What does that have to do with anything, though?
So you still can't. You're Johnny. You called in. You called in under the name John last time, and last time I clowned on you, and then you couldn't even name the first 5 books of the Bible.
But what does that have anything to do with?
I knew it was fucking him. You are by far the dumbest caller that has ever come on my channel. In fact, let me unmute you for a second. Anyone wants to hear the dumbest caller that has literally ever been on my channel ever, maybe dumber than praise, go find the video clip of a guy named John on my channel. It might even be in like the top 10. I forget if it was in the top 10 for 2025. It was only a matter of time before somebody pegged you, but this is absolutely John. I can't name the first 5 books of the Bible.
Attacks more ad hominem attacks and muting, huh? Is that all you guys can do? Is ad hominem attacks? And
we can't with you, yeah, because you don't have any substance.
What are you talking about? I just within 30 seconds of being on here, I proved you wrong.
No, you didn't.
What you mean?
No, you didn't.
You guys both accepted that
real.
You both accepted that.
Doesn't make him a god.
It's the fact that you thinking a human being is real.
Wow,
this guy's really off his rocker tonight.
So you're just gonna
yes.
Yeah, we're just gonna make fun of you to your face publicly.
That just means you lost the debate.
No, certainly not. It means you're not worthwhile.
Hey, Jimmy, did you go around like the corner and was it meth or was it Molly? Which one was it, buddy?
So
before you hopped on
ad hominem attack.
Yeah, before you hopped on here, which one was it?
Can we go back to saying?
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
What?
We got to get to the crack of the conversation.
You're the one with the Ohio hoodie on, and isn't Ohio the meth capital of the United States?
Probably not the capital, but I would say there are some parts of the state that used to be pretty high.
Ohio has more drug over.
I'd say pretty high in definitely the 90s, maybe even the 80s. But as it turns out, I don't participate in that. It sounds like you do them.
No. So, well, I mean,
just to be clear, though, Jimmy, you still can't even name the first 5 books of the Bible, can you?
I don't see what that has anything to do with anything.
Just checking, just making sure you still can't.
So more ad hominem attacks. Is that what it is?
No, just insulting. Come back again in a couple of weeks, and we'll do it all over again.
Someone asks if this is staged. It seems pretty staged. I think that at this point, I think he just calls in for the laughs. To tell you the truth, and he rejoined as Jimmy Wins. That's crazy.
It's crazy that Jimmy thought you just ate with that. Hey, whatever you gotta tell yourself to sleep at night, there, buddy. Question everything. Thank you for the super chat. It says, I'm giving this super chat of my own free will, a free will given to me by Doug. Perhaps I'll consult the oracle. And William, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. It says, the nobody cares about your pronouns people freak out when you refer to God with she, her pronouns. I need to start doing that just by default. Every time we get one of these clowns to start calling God or her and watch their head spin. They really don't like it.
They hate it. They hate it, boy.
Blanker, thank you for this. And our super chat says, why did Jesus cross the road? Oh, wait, he didn't cross the road. He rode the cross. Hey-o!
Hey, that's a good one.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Relax with Russell. Good to see you tonight. It says, Brian, the fucking kid, doesn't have free will either. If they will be punished for taking the cookie, they don't have free choice. They have a directive. Exactly. 100% on it.
That is true.
Resistance. Good to see. It says the average Corvid is more intelligent than Brian. I'm convinced his parents tried to name him Brian and misspelled it. Explains a lot.
Tried to name him Brain and misspelled it.
First, Melina, thank you for the super chat. Says, my depression screening has improved significantly. Shout out to all of this community. You're the best. Thanks be to Doug, Rock Hard for Doug, Simply Wet for Sharon, Justin's fucking rock, and Gay for Justin. Well, thank you, Porcelina. I am glad that you're feeling better. Super, super appreciate you letting us know. And Chodicus is with us tonight. Jimmy sounds like his wife better never refuse to make that sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
We'll do one more super chat here from Nicasius. Says they were once called the laws of thought because they were a first-person description of the act of thinking. Exactly.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's something new I learned. Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Well, let's bring in our next guest. It is going to be Brandon. After Brandon, we're going to bring in Mike from the TikTok queue and then Kara from the TikTok queue. Welcome in, Brandon. Are you at least 18 and do you believe in God?
Yes to both questions. What's up, boys? What's up, Justin? Mr. Volsey? How are y'all doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for asking. How are you?
How's it going?
I am doing well. Hopefully everything looks good on the screen.
Yeah, we should be good.
Awesome. Okay. Yes, this is more casual for me, so I'm not like coming up here with like a bunch of no's or anything like that. But yeah, I'm a theist, so I'm convinced there is a God. One of my biggest things, I'm curious to get your perspective. And again, I just want to be convinced of the truth. You know what I mean? I don't want to follow a thing. I don't want to follow a fairy tale because it's comfortable to me. I think as human beings, our duty is to follow the truth, no matter how uncomfortable that is. So with that being said, I did a deep dive into my own faith. You know, why do I believe in God, et cetera, et cetera. One of my big things that, you know, there's a good amount, but the creation of the universe, what was before the universe, if scientists are saying, hey, everything comes to the Big Bang, you know, how did that get started? That's one of my reasons for theism. I'm thinking that the thing that made matter, time, was a space, has to be outside of those things. And I think theism is a fine explanation for that, where I find atheism is not as convincing. What do you guys make of that? Because again, I just want to learn on that. Yeah.
Yeah, your mic's a little bit low right now, Volsey.
Give me 1 second.
Oh, now we're back now.
There we go. All right. Yeah. So whenever there we go. Sorry about that. All right. Yeah. So this is something that I struggled with as well when I was deconstructing. So here's what I always say, right? I think about what we know about our universe, what we know about not just our planet, but anything that we see out there. what are the explanations for them? Have we ever had a supernatural explanation for anything that we know about our universe? For rain, for star formation, for galaxy clusters, anything? Has there ever been a supernatural explanation, an explanation that needed an agent outside of space and time causing it to happen? We've never needed that for anything, right? People used to think that, gravity was basically demons pulling you down to the ground, right? So, but we know that that's wrong. And people used to think that, the ancient Greeks thought that rain and lightning was just Zeus being mad or, committing domestic abuse on Hera. You know what I'm saying? But we know that that's wrong. So whenever I think about the same subject about our existence, we can postulate that it was a supernatural agent or being outside of space and time that made it. But why is that the answer and not simply a natural process that we simply don't understand yet? Because our ancients didn't know the natural processes of earthquakes and stuff like that, so they blamed them on gods too. But right now we understand that there's a natural process to what earthquakes are. So why would the existence in of itself, the universe, need another supernatural explanation, and it not simply be a natural explanation that we just don't understand yet and can't explain with our models of physics at the moment? That could be the answer. Now, could your answer be also be true? Yeah, sure. But do we have evidence for that? Is it probable? There's really none of that. We really don't have any, do we? So why believe that over what we've always had as a human species, natural explanations for just about almost anything that we have? Why does the universe need a supernatural one? Does that all make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you for that explanation. Justin, would you be of the same impression, or would you have a little bit of a different answer?
Well, I think first of all, I do agree. If there was a start to the universe, I think it would necessarily be a naturalistic start. But I actually don't think that the universe has a start, and I don't think that that's what the Big Bang teaches. The Big Bang is literally just telling you, like, this is far back we can go in time because of the way our universe is formed. So I personally believe in the Big Bang, Big Crunch model, and I think there's scientific data for that model, which suggests that the universe always existed in some form, and it's been expanding and contracting essentially for all of eternity.
Interesting. So with that, the Big Bang, Big Crunch, I've never heard of that, by the way, so I apologize for not being familiar with it. But my issue is that it's hard for me to just presume it's already been in existence with it being material and such.
Why?
Because it is a thing, it's physical, it actually exists. And for me to just say has always been there.
But what's the evidence that it hasn't always been there? Because we have good reasons to believe it has been there.
Well, I would just disagree right there. I would think that the universe has not always been there.
Why?
Because there is, if I'm not mistaken, evidence that it began somewhere.
No.
That the universe is expanding. It's
not really, because the Big Bang explains that the universe expanded from a hot dense state or singularity. And when scientists say hot dense state or singularity, it's basically just a placeholder for our ignorance, because our models of physics can't really explain what's happening there. Like our models of space and time kind of break down. We don't really know what's going on. Now, there's, of course, physicists today that are figuring it out, but we should let them figure it out instead of simply saying that it must have came from some other agent, right?
So you're saying the consensus is there's always been matter. It was never a time there was not matter.
No. The consensus is actually that there isn't one. So if you ask physicists, in fact, there's a survey that was done. It was published from Copenhagen. In fact, I still have it up because we were talking about this earlier. Most people don't have a consensus. Most scientists don't have a consensus on like what was before the Big Bang. But if you ask them, was there nothing? Like, was the Big Bang the start of all things and even the start of time? The majority of scientists say no. So in the survey recently, it says, in your opinion, how should we understand the Big Bang? Option number 1 is an absolute beginning of time with a singularity at its start. which got about 11%, so 9 votes. And then the other option is an absolute beginning of time, but without a singularity, which got 6 votes, or 6%, 5 votes. But by far the most popular was option 3, a theory that says the universe evolved from a hot, dense state that says nothing about whether there was an absolute beginning of time or not. So the Big Bang isn't really making claims, like the Big Bang Theory isn't really making claims about what came before the Big Bang. It's just describing the expansion of what's seemingly already there.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Because I always want to steel man positions. I don't want to just like strong, because who's that helping, right? If you would, one of my other things is about, I'm not sure. I think, Justin, you have the MDiv. You probably heard about this, where some things have some things are necessary and others are contingent.
Yeah, I mean, the argument from contingency is pretty popular in Christian philosophical circles.
Yeah, that's really been my biggest hang up. How can we understand, what we know the story? If we can think of a dragon, it doesn't make it real, but it's possible. But if we have the example of God, which is, omniscient, which is maximally all things, it would be necessary for that being to be in one of the worlds, which makes it necessary for all the worlds. Is that
so this is kind of a version of the ontological argument, where you kind of get to dream something into existence. But I think the problem with the ontological argument is it makes a huge leap between premise number 1 and premise number 2, which is that because you can imagine something existing in all possible worlds, that it must exist in all possible worlds. But that's not really how necessity works. Just because you can imagine something existing in all possible worlds doesn't mean that it could or would exist in all possible worlds.
Well, from my understanding, it's that if God's possible one.
Well, yeah, if God's possible. I actually don't think God is possible, not the way it's described in the literature, because I don't think it's possible for something to exist outside of space and time, because something outside of space and time would have nowhere to exist and couldn't exist for any amount of time, and certainly couldn't take actions to create. Like, all creation events would be a sequence of events, and you can't have a sequence of events without time. So existing out of time would mean that God would be 100% impotent.
There are other issues that I've seen with that as well, right? Because what Justin already said, just because you can imagine it, therefore it's all possible world. I can imagine that God is evil, therefore God is evil in all possible worlds. Or I can imagine that God is a bald black dude and who carries a big stick and looks like my dad. Therefore, my dad is a god in every possible world. It gets more and more like more and more like ridiculous. I mean, if this is possible in this world, then that means they're all possible. It's like at that point, it's like anything is possible. Willy Wonka could be real in another dimension.
Right.
It's you know what I mean.
I lost my train of thought, but Justin.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. So the idea that a god couldn't exist because it doesn't make sense for that god to operate in time or to manipulate matter. I'll be honest. I feel like that's kind of like a fish looking out of the fish tank bowl and saying that surely something that breathes air couldn't exist and walk on the ground. It feels like because of our inability to understand what would happen outside of our constraints, I don't think that necessitates that thing couldn't exist. You know what I mean?
I think the problem is, like, once you start entailing like contradictions in your worldview, they become very difficult to hold up. So, for example, if God doesn't have to abide by logic, we could then say that God can exist and not exist in the same moment. How does that work?
Right. And that's actually one of the fun ones, because we say like God's omnipotent, but can he make 1 + 1 = 3? You know what I mean? And that's like, logically, no, then he can't do something. When I'm like, I don't know. Like, I feel like God's just working on literally working on a different realm. So trying to fit my constraints on him, I feel is disingenuous. It's an unfair playing field.
Well, I think it's actually just describing reality pretty well, right? So if something exists, it just is, right? Can something exist and not exist at the same time? Well, clearly not, because they're true dichotomies. If something does exist, then that means it doesn't not exist. If something doesn't exist, it means that it doesn't exist. I mean, it just isn't there, right? So if God can't play by the laws of logic, that just means that he can exist and not exist at the same time, which is, to me, like the height of absurdity, because if God doesn't exist, how could you say that he does exist?
So is there a problem with God logically existing, we can say?
My thought is, if there is a God, it would have to abide by at least the laws of logic, meaning it can't break the laws of logic, because the laws of logic are literally describing existence. But you could have a God that is within time and within space, but now we're going to be limiting this God. This God isn't actually the creation or the cause of all creation. This God is somehow inside of creation. And at that point, like once you have a God that's inside of creation, it becomes weird to be like, well, do we still call it God? Has it always been there? Did it develop from within creation? There's so many questions. And if the God exists within creation, then what's he good for? If we already grant that there's a creation that God didn't create, then it seems like God is now a useless concept.
Yeah. And for me, like that's really the issue. I've always had the outside of space and time thing, because space time is basically all of reality, right? So if you say that God is outside of space and time, he's outside of reality, which makes him not real by definition. But even if we were to grant that, going back to your previous example of a fish in a fish bowl, saying that it's impossible for someone to walk on the ground and breathe oxygen. That's really just, different forms of, basically different frames of reference. Like I'm pretty sure an ant can't perceive what we are because their minds just are not there, right? But if we're gonna say that this God, he's outside of space and time because he's in some sort of higher dimension, that would still make him something bound by some sort of physics that we just don't understand yet. And at that point, is it a God or is it just an alien that we don't understand?
So is the position that God is not all powerful because he's bound by logic?
I would say that the gods that are described by like classical monotheist apologetics, like omnibenevolence, omniscient, that entails contradictions. Yeah, I mean, so I won't think that God exists. And if we're gonna be getting to a God, just like how Justin said, is within the bounds of space time. Like I would say that's basically, how I said earlier in the live, that's basically Galactus. You know what I mean? More powerful than us, more powerful than us. But is it all powerful, really?
Right. And the description. So you're saying these descriptions that we're classifying God, what like? It's difficult because we always have these biases that we always put into, God, about what we think,
of course,
who he is and such. But I'm trying to understand the maximally, ontologically, he's the maximum being. How that, and I would agree with Justin that a God inside creation would not make it God, because if God, I think ontologically, by definition, has to be outside of creation.
Mm-hmm.
So any God has a start couldn't be God. It would have to be eternal. Yes. So Jessica, would you be able to clear that up for me on the logic and God part, if we presume that God is outside of creation?
Because if God is outside of time, that means he must create time. And the problem we have is, in order to create anything, you've got a sequence of events. At a minimum, you've got at least two sequences. One sequence where the thing doesn't exist, and another sequence where it does exist. Right. So what that means is in order to create anything, you need time to already exist. And that means time itself couldn't be a creation because you need time to create time. So it must have always existed.
That's why I think maybe we're talking past each other, because I would have no issue saying that God is beyond time and is not bound by it in any way, shape, or form.
But then he can't do anything.
I would disagree, because I think time is more of a us constraint in the same way. Like, where is he? You know what I mean? Where is he doing these things?
Okay, can God, let's say, we'll assume that he's got some spiritual fingers of some nature. Can God click his fingers?
Well, that's a presumption that he is existing in space and time. I think if he wanted to snap his fingers, he would have to create space and time to do that.
Right, but you can't create. But you can't create without time already existing, because creation is a sequence of events.
Creation is a sequence of events.
Because you've got, at a minimum, you've got one frame where it doesn't exist, and then a second frame where it does exist. That's a sequence of events.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, how does God do things without some sort of time taking place? Because one thing happened and another thing happened. That's time taking place.
Is it beyond? Sorry.
If he even thought about what he was going to create before he created it, well, that's in time too. If he didn't even think about his creation before he created it, that means it's entirely arbitrary.
Interesting. That is interesting. Is it possible that God can exist, but time still be a contingent being and not necessary? Or a contingent thing, maybe not being is the proper word. Whereas because God exists, it has to exist. Time has to become a thing.
Well, it seems like if time always existed, then it would exist independent of God.
But that's what I'm supposing, that God would have to be a thing because time's a thing. But if there was no God, there would be no time for that thing to be a thing. It's getting really fun with our thing words.
Yeah. So, I mean, if God is a thing, whatever we call it a thing, it would have to be in time, or else the thing can't do anything, right? In order to, like, any verb, any action, anything that does anything is necessarily inside of time.
I'm just struggling to see how it is. So you're saying, so okay. You see the cogs are turning in real time.
Yeah, take your time.
That God can't be possible because he would need time beforehand, and
basically,
supposing the time is a thing.
Because
a uncreated thing.
Yeah, all acts of creation happen within time, which means the act of creating time would be in time already.
Okay. Very interesting. That's one of the arguments on one of my streams I've just never heard before.
That was actually one of the main arguments that took me from generic theism to atheism, was once I realized that, like, a God outside of space and time didn't make any sense. I was like, oh, well, it's nonsense now.
Sure. Do you have time for a third question?
Sure.
Okay. One of my other arguments for theism is I believe in an objective morality, where something is wrong no matter where you are, when you are, who you are. Something is wrong. Said thing is wrong. And if there is no theism, there is no God, then I think there is no objective morality, because we're all just really clumps of atoms, with this illusion of personhood. What would be y'all's I'll take both of y'all's position on that. What would you make of that?
I'll tell you what I would say to it, and I don't know if Volsey is going to say the same thing, but I don't believe objective morals exist. So if God does exist and God created morals, they're still actually not objective. They're just subjective. It just happens to be that they're subject to God's mind instead of our own mind. So that doesn't get you to objective morals.
If I could,
Mhm.
real quick, just add in, I'm going to put forth that morals are actually uncreated. That's why they're objective. So
Why-
murder is wrong because it's ontologically part of God's nature.
Well,
So
what does it
something
mean
like,
for a moral to be part of God's nature? If like, what is a nature?
part of being?
What? How? How does God being get morals?
Because it is, I guess, it's going to sound pretty crude, but it's like his universe. So anything that is part of him, it is in that creation.
So he would decide what is right and wrong.
No, I don't think that's.
So God can't
true
decide what's
nature.
right or wrong?
Not exactly. I think there are things that are part of his character that are are undecided right and wrong, something like murder. However, if you look at the Christian account of I guess Exodus, where he forbids the eating of pork and such, that would be wrong for said person to eat pork, but only because God had put that into motion. It's not wrong according to his nature.
But how is it possible that they're objective when he changes them?
No. I think the dietary restrictions would be an example of subjective morals. Those are laws, whereas the objective morals would be murder, lying. Would be another good one.
Why are those objective and the other ones not? Because God does murder and lying.
Okay, so I'm going to say that those things are wrong because they're part of God's nature, and then we have to fit the scripture. Okay, does the Christian God do these things? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if we put aside the Christian God and just focus on the idea of God's nature imposing an objective reality, what would you say to that?
Well, God's nature doesn't have the like causative power of imposing anything. That's what minds do.
Interesting. Okay, because that's gonna be my presumption. There is that God's nature does impose a morality.
How does a nature have causative power without a mind?
Well, I would think that because a God we're talking about is beyond our perfect understanding. It might be a little bit rough around the edges, but that his existence in the way that he created creation would have that in order. Do I say?
But so when we talk about God's nature and character, we're really just talking about God's attributes, right? We're saying here's how we can define God, right? So the nature of God isn't something with causative powers. It's just saying here's how we describe God. These are things that fit his description. So I don't see where the causative power comes from.
Let's try this on for size then. That anything that derives or not maybe derives, that deters from those attributes is evil.
Why?
If we presume that God is all good,
why would he do that?
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Why would we presume
understanding?
Yeah, Volsey, I really love this argument. Volsey, you want to run with it?
Yeah. I was gonna ask why would we presume that God is good in the first place?
I guess it goes back to the was it the was it the tag or the cosmological argument that God has to be maximally good. So we're already running with that, good and bad. Like, what do we mean by that?
Right. So it comes to there's a big problem at the first premise in the first place, because like while we would assume that God is good, and what does maximally good even mean? You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where we presume that, but at the end of the day, even if we do presume that would still make moral subjective, because it depends on what God nature is. It's subject to him.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think God's nature would be up to him. That sounds kind of weird because he is that thing. And if he is the maximum thing of that, he doesn't have a choice in that.
Okay, so his nature isn't even dependent on, because just like Dustin said, nature is basically your attributes. So God doesn't decide his own attributes. If that's the case, wouldn't that kind of imply that his attributes were decided by something else? Because all of my attributes were decided by kind of my parents, right? I have brown eyes.
Sure.
I had the same skin color as my dad, the same bone structure, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where my attributes were decided from my genetics. If God's is not deciding his attributes, then that kind of imply that it came from something else.
Right. I think the issue there is that you are a created being, whereas God would not be. So God wouldn't get his attributes. It just is his attributes, because the idea is that God is maximally eternal without creation. If God was created in some way, then he's not God, as he's not, before everything.
Now, if we can assume that God is always existed eternally, why can't we just do the same thing for the universe?
Because that's why my original premise is that the universe did have a beginning. That's why I'm saying the Big Bang is what brought about the universe. So if there was if there was nothing before the Big Bang, that's where I'm drawing into a contention. Hey, wait a minute, that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, gotcha. When it comes to like the scientific realm, before Big Bang is not really a thing, right? It's essentially a state where it's an expansion of space time, and we're not sure what the hot dead state is. You see what I mean? So it's before Big Bang is not really. It's like asking what's north of the North Pole. You see what I mean? So but if that's the case, then it could be possible that the universe did exist eternally, just in a different form that we can't explain yet. You see what I mean? So it's one of those things where
I get that.
Why would it? Yeah. Why would it? Why would we assume that for God, but we can't for the universe? You see what I mean?
Sure. And I don't want to get too far off from the original argument, which is about objective morality. Sure. So my understanding is that, assuming, this might be a helpful distinction here, where there is not necessarily an evil thing, but the almost depravity or lack of good in a thing. That's where we get evil. So if God is a source of good, anything that is apart from that isn't necessarily bad. Isn't a thing. It's kind of like hot and cold. Cold isn't necessarily a thing. It's just a lack of heat. So,
well, what is good?
Anything that is godly. That's going to be my answer there.
So why would we attribute goodness to God?
Because he's the maximum being.
So what, is he not the maximum evil being?
But the presumption is that evil is not a thing. It is only the lack of good.
Yeah, but I don't agree with that.
You don't have to agree with it. It's just
right?
The position I'm putting.
Like, you can define God any way you want to, right? Just defining God as good is kind of meaningless, because good and bad are just subjective terms. We're saying one is desirable and one is undesirable, right? So you're just saying, basically whatever God desires, we're going to call good, but I don't see why we would do that.
Well, I think we both agree that there's an objective truth, or no? Do we not agree with that?
I mean, I think we agree that there's probably an objective truth. I don't think we agree on objective morals.
But the morals would come from the truth. If the truth is... Okay, so let me put forth this example and see where we disagree on this. If, let's just say, like, the baseline, the truth is murder is wrong. Would we not agree that the morals are going to come from that?
But that's a moral claim, not a truth claim necessarily. So I can say that it's true that the universe exists. Right? That's a claim about objective reality. But if the universe exists objectively, that tells me nothing about whether or not morals exist objectively.
So then, but that's like, so then the position would be that morals cannot be based in truth claims, because there's no truth claims that intersect with morality.
But if you make a claim related to morality, that claim must first rest on the fact that objective morals exist, which we don't grant. And so if you're saying it's true that it's always wrong to do X, Y, or Z, well, now you have on your plate the task of determining why this is objectively the case.
Right, but I'm just trying to understand, if we agree there's an objective truth, why there wouldn't be an objective morality.
Something being objectively true has nothing to do with morality. Truth is just an evaluation of a proposition. So if I said I'm holding a can, it might be objectively true that I'm holding a can, but that's just because we're doing an evaluation. Our eyeballs are saying, "Yep, he said a thing," and our eyeballs confirm it. It's true.
Understood, but
Yeah, because truth is like what comports with reality, right?
Mhm.
And morals are basically how human beings interact with each other. Not all morals are going to be based on any truth claim, because that's why we say that morality is subjective, because there are some societies out there that say being part of the LGBTQ community is immoral, but there's no truth to saying that it's harmful for someone to be LGBTQ. You see what I'm saying? So it's that's why those two things, like, that's the best example I can give, but that's why something can be objective. That's why objective truth and moral claims are not exactly the same thing. You can't put them in the same category. Makes sense?
Yeah, let me get your opinion on this. So something like and this might go into, I guess, a type of utilitarianism where it's like heroin's bad for a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Injecting heroin's bad. Would he agree on that, or we're going to say no?
Depends.
Now, I think it depends. There are occasions where opioids are actually really good for humans. For example, if you're on hospice care and you need to be free of pain in your final weeks or months, opioids are really good for you.
So, but that's, I feel like that's kind of like my point there, that there's, like, we're saying this is good for us here.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
Something. Okay, so all claims then are just going to be opinion based.
Oh yeah, all of my moral claims are constantly opinion based. Every moral claim I would ever make is open to being reconsidered and questioned because they're subjective. I don't have access to objective morals because they don't seem to exist. I would say too, people don't like subjective morals a lot, but I think it's actually better than objective morals, because if in fact objective morals exist and they came, we'll say, from the Christian God, that would mean that objectively is true that it's okay to like unalive infants, to cut pregnant women open, to cannibalize children, and you wouldn't have any say in it. You'd be like, well, God said to do it, so it must be okay. And at that point, I don't even know what we're doing here anymore. Why are we? It's objectively okay to cut women open with a sword and dash their babies against rocks.
But I'm kind of struggling to see where you would have a problem with that. Because we both agree we can have problems with that, but if your basis is there's no objective morality there, then you can't say that that's wrong.
No, I can say it's wrong in my opinion, and it's wrong because in my framework, harming people unnecessarily is what I consider to be wrong, right? So in subjective morality, everybody gets to say, hey, actually, this is how I feel about it, and then we get to make laws that we can all agree on and that we're all happy abiding by. And once you start mixing in objective morals, there's nothing that you wouldn't have to do if God told you to. It's like if God told you to kick a puppy, that would make kicking a puppy objectively moral, right?
So, but you can say it's my opinion that this thing is wrong, but we cannot say that this is actually wrong, because that'll be a truth claim.
Well, it's not a matter of a truth claim. It's a matter of whether or not morals are objective. Like we can make truth claims that's different than making moral claims about objective morals.
Well, help me understand that, because if you say, hey, murdering is wrong, I agree. It's good. It's a good moral to have. And you say, hey, this group is murdering. And I have no problem with you saying, hey, it's my opinion that murder is wrong and these guys are doing something bad. But to say that it's actually wrong, I think is contradicting the statement.
I didn't say that. Again,
Okay, so we're of the
every
same
moral
opinion.
claim I've ever made is my opinion.
Right. So we're on an agreement then that you couldn't say that it's actually wrong, just it's your opinion.
I don't know what you mean by actually wrong.
So it's going back.
You mean
to the idea that-
objectively? Is it objectively wrong?
Sure. I mean, sure. Yeah. I guess we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, again, we don't believe in objective morals, so we wouldn't say that it's objectively wrong. We would say that this wrong, given our framework, and we would have a wider dialogue. Like in society, we get to come together and make laws. We're a democratic society, and if we all agree that, hey, we really like this law, then we just adopt it. That's it.
Very interesting. Okay. I think we were talking past each other for a second. Just want to make sure we were on the same page there. Interesting. Okay. Well, folks, you have answered my questions. Very interesting. Any final thoughts from you guys before I head off? I appreciate this, by the way.
Yeah, Brandon, thanks for coming in and being a good palate cleanser after last couple of numbskulls that came up in here. You were very polite. So, as always, when we have nice guests, we give them room to talk. We let them ask questions or do whatever they want to. So keep being a decent individual, and think you'll find that the atheist community is not that bad.
I appreciate that. As to y'all, I apologize for anyone who claims to be Christian and is very uncivilized. That's just unhelpful for everybody.
It is. But definitely appreciate you, Brandon. There we go. Yeah, definitely appreciate you, Brandon. It's always good to talk to someone who's polite, and we can exchange, ideas. Like I love it.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. Hopefully, I'll be back in the future with some better answers.
Come on back. We'll talk.
Sounds good. God bless.
Nice guy. We needed that. Well, friends, we don't have a long stream tonight. We're going to be out of here before 9:30 at the latest. So we're going to read super chats. We appreciate you being here, and obviously we appreciate Volsi for joining me.
Appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all so much for letting me here. And Justin, I appreciate it a lot. I've been wanting to do this for a while, so definitely. And I gotta get you over on my channel as well for some times. And I definitely want to see you go live with Dougal, because you know how me and Bar, we do black people shouldn't be Christian. Dougal does white people shouldn't be Christian.
Oh shit.
Which is hilarious. You should definitely go on that. It's always kind of funny whenever I get someone who's like Irish, and I always say, yeah, you should be Christian either. You should be Celtic. You know what I mean? Those guys were amazing. That was fun, which I was doing then.
I'll have to check that argument out. I'll have to check it out. I Dougal and I are good buddies, so we'll definitely have to make that happen. I appreciate that. Well, friends, let me read some super chats, and we're going to cover as many as we can before we have to sign out. Survivor Series says, consider reading the transcript of the Disputation of Barcelona from Rabbi Moses ben Nachman. Great insight history to debating Christians. Interesting. I don't think I've even heard of that. Give me 1 second to grab that. About the Disputation of Barcelona. Okay. It looks like it's readily available on the internet. So, all right. Hey, thanks for the resource there, Survivor. And Eris, good to see you tonight. It says, only if Nebraska Steve calls in the true 1-2 punch. we do miss Steve. I actually started to get worried. I haven't seen Steve in probably 2 or 3 months, and it's getting concerning. Eris, if you know where Steve's at, send him this way. Adam says, Papa Legba is the ground of all being.
Hell yeah. Voodoo is mentioned. Yes, Papa Legba is the ground of all being. He is the crossroads demon. Praise Papa Legba.
Hell yeah. Relaxers Russell, thank you for the additional super test. This guy is Clown Shoes. Yeah, I mean, everybody except for the last guest we talked to was like Clown Shoes so big they're like sticking out the windows of the clown car. Game Guy says it's always no with you. It is. You say dumb stuff, we're gonna say no right away.
No.
And House 70, my friend, thank you for the super test. Says Matthew is the human most acquainted with the taste of his own foot, and that is accurate. I'll never understand. Matthew, we thought a couple of weeks ago, turned a corner and started being polite and courteous, and then he went back to this nonsense. So I don't know what we're gonna do with him. He might not come back now that we outed him as having a 15-year-old girlfriend. That's going to come back to bite him, I suspect. Russell, thank you for the additional super chat. I don't want to be a jerk, but this guy just doesn't seem knowledgeable enough for this condescending tone. This guy is a tool.
Oh man, we've had a lot of tool bags that came up. My goodness, oh boy. Yeah, you should come over to some of mine, some nice Justin, because I get the boy.
I bet. I absolutely believe it. Chronicle says Matthew puts the amp in amp. The rock. Poor Matthew.
Ooh, poor Matthew.
It's not his fault. Genetics doesn't help everybody. Game Guy says, whoops, I just outed myself as a PDF file. Yahweh would be proud. Indeed he would. Well, actually, Yahweh would be proud.
He would, yeah. Yeah, he would. Yahweh will be proud. You're right about that.
I mean, he meant that as a joke, but it's true. If Yahweh was real, he'd be like, thumbs up, you know? Mm-hmm. Birdkeeper says his argument for absolute is based on it not making a claim for what we can't observe. We observe the beginning at t equals 0. Matthew is dishonest. Matthew's always dishonest. I mean, to be fair, we only bring him up at this point because he's like good for the crash out clips, but like for actual dialogue, he's a waste of space now. SPL, good to see you, buddy. Did you change your name, SPL? Anyway, today, Christianity harms the Black community more than racism. I'm a living witness. True.
And the crazy thing that I would say is that I don't know if you ever read this book, Justin, but it's called The Religion of Whiteness. Mm-mm. And basically, it kind of explains how Christianity in America operates basically with, as a white supremacist framework, essentially. Because for a lot of, unfortunately, I guess obviously for white evangelicals, because we all know who they voted for. For a lot of white evangelicals, Christianity is not about how like Black Christians would do it with like community and stuff like that. It's all about keeping racial and national hierarchy in place. Yeah, right. I mean all the verses about helping out your neighbors, about welcoming the foreigners or whatever. They all for a lot of the study found that for a lot of white Christians, it was all about keeping the hierarchy in order, not about actually helping somebody out. Which is why that woman who everybody crashed out on a few months ago, who was calling all the churches asking for help for her hungry baby. You see, most of the white churches and the mega churches were saying no, but the Black churches were saying, let's see if we can help you out. It operates completely differently in these different frameworks, which is incredible. So right now, I would add on to that. It's not that Christianity harms the community more than racism. Is that right now Christianity is racist, Christianity is racism. But yeah, thanks for the super chat. And yeah, definitely, I would definitely say that.
Steve, thank you for the super chat. Says, nurse, here it is, doctor. Doctor, nurse, I asked for the butt light, not a Bud Light. Justin, oh, nurse, I'll take that. Actually, to be fair, I'm gonna need some. Oh boy, it'll be in the morning tomorrow, so I would probably be loopy all day. Birdkeeper says Brian might be my new favorite character here with his NPC responses and room temperature IQ. Him and the other Yahashadasha believers share a brain cell, a single brain cell for sure.
Yeah, Hashadasha is amazing.
The fact that he would literally say something like it's Paleo Hebrew when I know he doesn't even know standard Hebrew is crazy. The Cassius says a belief information is a subconscious act when valid warrant is perceived. It cannot be a choice. True. We didn't even get to that, did we, Bolsey?
Yeah, we didn't. Because I wanted to bring that up but he kept on crashing. I was going to say we don't really choose what we believe. You're either convinced of something or you're not. You're not really choosing it. I can't choose to believe the tooth fairy right now. Just can't do it.
No, never can. I didn't choose to be an atheist. It just happened to be that I lacked belief over the course of my, years of studying and thinking. House 70 says one Brian, I'm sorry, is a smart dog. The other is a fool. Oh shit.
Family I mentioned.
Good follow up. And Chip, my friend, good to see you. Says Brian is the lowest 5 dumbest callers ever. I have to agree, Chip. It's hard for me to imagine somebody dumber than Brian. He's in the same classification as John, although John called in today as Jimmy for reasons we all know why. Yeah. Check out, I think the clip with John was titled something akin to the Dunningness of Krugers. Isn't that what it was called? I think so. I think it was called the Dunningness of Krugers if you want to watch John's first call, aka Jimmy. Tim Davidson says, if God knows I'm going to have cornflakes tomorrow morning, what are the chances I have an omelet? Fucking zero, buddy.
Zero.
None.
Exactly. Because that
Harry,
can't be wrong.
You know what? When this argument first came up, Skits used to run it a lot. And at first I didn't understand it. They're like, well, God only knows what you're going to do because he has foresight. And then the minute somebody was like, no, it's not just that he has foresight. It's that he created everything, which means before he created, he knew what was going to happen. And he could have changed any other parameters, which means he chose the course of events. Without that in there, then people would be right. Being omniscient doesn't mean that you lack free will, but being omniscient while being the creator of all things absolutely negates your free will.
Exactly.
Carrie, thank you for the super chat. Says Andrew Wilson, School of Debate. Tie people up in semantics, but never make a claim. Carrie, you actually nailed it. Very few times have I ever seen Andrew Wilson actually make a claim and then try to substantiate the claim. The goal of a lot of these bad faith debaters is to, like you said, tie them down in semantics or actually try to hijack terms with the words that you use. And then also never actually defend your own position, just try to punch holes in the other person's position and then pretend like your position won. That's not really how that works.
Right.
Gentleman Viking, good to see you, says, did Jimmy just commit blasphemy? I wasn't paying attention. Did Jimmy commit blasphemy?
Yeah, I got to run the clip back and see because he might have.
I'm curious.
All the BS you were saying, yeah. All the BS you were saying, he probably did.
He was really making Christ proud tonight. Chris, thank you for the super chat. For instance, Light, I better check on the speed limit. LOL. Isn't that crazy? They think that the laws are prescriptive. Weird.
Yeah, it's like no one is doing anything to make these happen. These are just phenomena we observe, guys.
Ashandri, good to see you again, Francis. I think I need to count your hairs again to wash out the image of Jimmy and God sharing the same shape of, It's wild that he actually became agnostic on whether or not God had a penis. That's not something you hear too often.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Does God have a tallywhacker? So that's funny.
Jay Wallace says, why do people who keep interrupting nonstop cry the hardest when they get interrupted and muted for interrupting? Rock Hard for Doug, Simple What for Shared, Gay for Justin. Walsh, you got me. I'll never understand why people will constantly talk over you and interrupt you. And then when you have enough of it and you're like, well, fuck it, I'm just going to mute them. Then they cry forever. It's because that's the goal to begin with. The goal is to steamroll the opponent. And then when they steamroll you back, you just cry about it.
Yeah, exactly. It happens in our lives all the time.
Oh, yeah. Tim says, I've seen God and she's black.
She's black, yeah. I used to have a t-shirt that said, I don't know what happened to that t-shirt. My parents might have sent it to Haiti. But yeah, I love that. I love that slogan. I've seen God and she's black.
Cameron, thank you for the $20 super chat, friend, says, talking donkeys, talking snakes, wizards, demons, goblins, goons, walking on water, Virgin Mary, turning liquid into wine, Noah's Ark, resurrection, saints, earth stops spinning, sin, heaven and hell, just in time. Cameron, it's baffling to me that people, when you start adding up the laundry list of the nonsense, that they just don't go like, well, that doesn't seem right. They just keep on piling on. There's a glutton for punishment. And Chodiga says, theist definitions, I just want to learn, means I think I'm about to cook you on some trite rhetoric. Yeah. Or they'll say that when they know they've been defeated and they don't want to feel like they're losing. Well, I didn't lose because I just came to learn.
Yeah,
I'm sure you did.
Cameron
says, the stories for 3-year-old toddlers, Cinco de Mayo, just in time. You know what? It is the 5th. I should, if I didn't have a colonoscopy tomorrow, I would have got some Cinco de Mayo celebrations, but unfortunately, not going to happen today.
And I got work tomorrow, man. There was a storm over in Texas, so I got like 30 claims in a day. So it was insane. Yeah, I work in car insurance, so it's like, oof.
It's gonna be a busy day.
Awful. Mm-hmm.
Steve RV, good to see you. Says, I heard someone claim that Gentiles would be under Noahide laws in the Messianic age, but I thought everyone had to follow Mosaic law, right? According to the Hebrew Bible, yes. According to the Hebrew Bible, they're going to be following the laws. Think like Ezekiel 44, Jeremiah 33, Isaiah 56, Zechariah chapter 14, among others. So yeah, it didn't say anything about the Noahide laws in there. Ampersand, thank you for the additional super chat. Says, I called it in my second super chat. My prophecy declared that a caller wouldn't understand infinity. I'm better than Jesus. My success rate is 100%. 1,000,000% better than Jesus. And Randy, thank you for sending out 20 Deconstruction Zone gifted memberships. I really appreciate that, friend. Good to see you tonight. I hope you're doing well. And thank you also for the super chat. Randy says, if you can please support this channel and other channels like this, please do. And also make sure you go into Volsey's channel. In the title of this video, I've got the @ to Volsey's channel. Drop him a follow. He's doing these live debates just like I'm doing them. He's on TikTok. He's on YouTube. Make sure you're following him on both platforms. And Ungoogleable Man says, timeless, spaceless, immaterial sounds a lot like never, nowhere, and not made of anything.
Not made out of anything. Yeah, exactly.
If your God is like identical with non-existence, sounds like it doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. Yes.
Ampersand with the follow-up, @2handdan said, is the baby paste covered by the dietary laws also for super chat? You know what? It can't be against the dietary laws in Leviticus because God does command the eating of babies. In Leviticus 26, Deuteronomy 28, and it shows up in Jeremiah 19:9, and there's another spot that I'm not thinking of right now where it shows up. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like God must be okay with cannibalism. Shit, if Jesus is if the transubstantiation is correct, God loves cannibalism. That's his plan for salvation. Fellow Dragon, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. Saying God is good tells us nothing more than saying God is God. It has no meaningful content, and that's 100% it. What does good mean if we're just saying God is good? What are we just saying? God, like it doesn't mean anything to me. It's a meaningless statement. Good describes a behavior or an action or a thing that is preferable. If you just look it up in the dictionary. I don't know why theists want us to throw the dictionary out. Weird.
Exactly. What's funny? Me growing up in the black church, every time I hear God is good, I automatically want to say all the time. You know what I mean? So
it's like a conditioning. It's like a Pavlov's dog. They have the same repeated lines over and over again. It's like if you're from Ohio and someone yells out OH, you know what to do next. But you don't have that in the other states. In Ohio, for people who aren't from Ohio, if you're anywhere in the universe and somebody shouts OH, the only appropriate response is IO. And it's even better if you do the shape IO. If you're,
That's funny.
There's an old joke you can always find wherever you're at, where people from Ohio are, just by shouting OH, and it's relatively true. In fact, people in the Discord are doing it now. Chip, my friend, thank you for the additional super chat. Says, if God's nature is absolute good, then God is incapable of doing, commanding, or allowing anything not good. Therefore, either genocide, grape, etc. are good, or God's nature isn't good. I think we kind of pressed on that a little bit, and then he pivoted. But or maybe he just refused to bite on it. If God's nature is what causes things to be good, objectively good, that means it's objectively good to unalive babies, to rip women open, and we didn't really get to bite into that too much. But I don't see how that doesn't follow. Two Hand Dan does have a question. Thank you, Two Hand Dan. Says, where does baby paste fall on the Christian food pyramid? The chat says it's a dessert and not covered by dietary laws. So this is where it gets really tricky, because baby paste, much like flour, is more of a base, which means you can use it for baby paste cake. You can do baby paste jerky. You can even do baby paste pate. You can have savory or sweet, kind of like cheese. You can have sweet cheese or savory cheese. Baby paste is such a good universal food for your believing friends that whatever food group you need to put it in, it can act as a base inside of that food group. It's very versatile. Also, we do have baby paste stickers and fridge magnets in the gift shop, friends. Design, good to see you again. Thank you for the super chat. It says, if aliens watched humans on Nat Geo type of show, human morals would be whatever the voiceover was saying. We're biased to label good and bad because we're the subjects. Exactly. We're biased to say good and bad because good and bad always refers to a preference. And so when we say good, we're just saying, it is our preference. It is our opinion. And the dictionary agrees with us. So,
exactly.
Good question. Thank you for the good question. Good to see you tonight. Would you say morality makes sense only if there is a moral action target, regardless of the existence of a moral action source? Example, is it morally bad to disregard meteorites if they can hurt me?
So good questions.
So my moral framework is essentially this. Like when I say morals, I think the only thing that can do a moral action or immoral action would be an agent, right? So I wouldn't say that a meteor can do something that's immoral because it's not really an agent. As far as I can tell, morals come from our decision-making processes. I hope I understood your question right there. Good question. So is there a target? So is it, for example, if I lie to myself, is it still immoral? Well, I'm not even convinced that lying is always immoral. In my framework, I'm more of a utilitarian where I think we would avoid certain behaviors if those behaviors cause harm, because harm is a thing that we all agree we don't want.
Right.
So
I agree.
I would suspect that even if there's not a target, we could engage in moral and immoral behavior, even if it has maybe accidental consequences. Lynn, thank you for the super chat, friends. It's nice to meet you, Volsi. I enjoyed your perspectives tonight. Justin, good luck with your procedure tomorrow. And Justin's fucking rock. And SFJ must mean, I already forgot SFJ. Fuck. Straight for Justin. There we go. Straight for Justin. We got you, Lynn. Thank you. Friends, we've got 3 more super chats left, and we're going to sign off. Roy, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for the $2 super thanks. And Elvis Presley Touch Me says, if having hatred in your heart is the same as murder and lusting is the same as adultery, once you have the thought, why not carry out the act? This is a fair point. And if all sins are the same, Paul says, if you've broken one law, you've broken them all. That means, like, there'd be no difference between me thinking something and me doing something. It does kind of make Jesus's laws seem kind of silly now that, they typically try to frame it as being more moral. But if you flip it on the head, Jesus's new laws in Matthew 5 actually make it more problematic, because now you're giving somebody the, carte blanche to like go actually do horrible things, whereas previously they might have just thought them. Yeah, that's a good point. I have to remember that one. Hey, it's good to see you tonight. Hey, Justin, quick question. Couldn't you use Colossians 2:8 to throw back at the Fildos? I think somebody actually asked this recently, not to use useless philosophy. Is that the one? Colossians 2:8 talks about useless philosophy, I thought. It says, watch out that no one takes you captive through philosophy and empty deceit.
Empty deceit, according to human tradition, according to the elements. Yeah, true. I could just start using Colossians 2:8 when they start using the tag argument. They're like, I'll talk Colossians 2:8. It's useless. So, yeah, you're sinning, buddy.
It's almost like somebody was using good sound logic against Paul, and Paul was like, don't listen to that philosophy. Words don't mean words. Remember that. Good question says, is it immoral for you to defund a project that would protect me from meteorites? Oh, gotcha. Okay, so if there was a project and me defunding it was going to cause harm, especially if it was going to cause more harm to end it rather than keep it, then I personally would feel like I was doing something immoral. So it's almost like allowing something to happen, right? If I'm walking by a child getting harmed and I don't do anything, I just allow it to happen, whereas I could have stopped it from happening, I feel like I have moral culpability in that. and this is kind of falls in line with the trolley problem. I think everybody has a different answer to the trolley problem. I can only tell you what my perspective is. My perspective personally is I know I would feel morally culpable if I didn't stop something that was harmful that I knew I could stop. And last super chat from our friend Bacon and Bush says, a magician I know has a funny saying, morals are good ballast. Oh, okay, like a ship ballast. You need something to throw overboard when the ship starts sinking. Oh, fuck. That is actually what Christians typically do to their morals. So the minute the Christian boat starts sinking, the morals go out the window and they start cursing at you and all over.
Then we get all that Christian love. All right.
Mhm.
Over on my end, I only have 2 super chats. I hope I get more like Justin, because he be killing it. All right, but Moondog, thank you for the $1 super chat. And Resist, thank you so much as well, saying great show. He appreciates me. And Justin, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. I appreciate you guys. Only 2, but it's all good and well. We'll pump it up next time, y'all.
Friends, make sure
y'all being here.
Oh, sorry, dude. Make sure you're dropping down to the title and following Volsey's channel and catching his live streams. What days of the week do you usually stream, Volsey?
I usually stream Thursday to Sunday, barring any like emergencies or maybe I'm just like tired that week. I'm gonna go live this week, even though like I have 40 cases to take care of. Jesus Christ! Even though I have that to take care of, I'll still go live this week. I'm live every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursday and Friday from about 6:30 to about 9:30. Thursday and Friday, and Saturday and Sunday from about 3:30 to 6:30. All right, so join for those this week. I think I'm running politics this week. That's what I do. I switch off every other week. One week I do politics, another week I do religion. So I switch off. So this week is going to be the politics week. So definitely join in for that, and we'll be discussing. I got a few of them. I got a few of them to discuss because people really the people come out, the hoods come out whenever I talk about reparations for African Americans. Oh boy, do those hoods come out.
I love your political debates. They're amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you guys. And thank you, Justin, so much for having me here tonight. And I hope we can do this again. Whenever you have time and ever have space for me again, I'll definitely come by, and I'll set up for a day. If you want to do politics one day, you could go ahead and come by to mine as well.
All right, perfect. We'll schedule that for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, friends, thank you so much for being here. I don't think I'll be live tomorrow. I'm probably going to be a little bit loopy from the medications, but I should be live.
Honey, for the link number 2 that you do not meet this series, number 9 already out, honey.